Boop.
Oh shit, the prompt.
Oh.
What a start.
I'm just like, yeah, I'm ready. I hadn't even thought about it.
Let's start with haiku.
Hi everyone, hope you've had a good week. It's lovely to see all of our friends in chat. We're going to play a bit of Dungeons and Dragons. Sorry for Jack's violent outburst.
me outbursting violently, never.
As you know, we like to start our games with prompts. Today we are using a prompt that is styled on something that Malkavir posted in the prompts section. If you guys want to contribute to our prompts, feel free to using the link in the chat. There we go. That was well timed. Lovely.
I really picked my beer up, which was a bad time.
The prompt we're using is briefly, what is your character's signature dish? What will they bring to a big communal, barbecue or whatever, some kind of just get together for food? What do they bring to it? And you can also give us a bit of background on it if you'd like, or why it's the dish that they bring or whatever. Whilst you're thinking about that, I'll give us a very brief recap, I hope, of the last game that we played. The last game that we played, we started with this mysterious library where nobody seems to remember who they actually are. They're all members of this library staff that is within a monastery that Randall grew up in and trained in. We started our session with Haiku and Oro having bumped into each other and had a little chat. They realized that they had a similar tattoo, identical, even matching perhaps, and that was sus. So they got to talking and realized that maybe they should work together to try and help each other out on their errands for the day. Haiku needed to, or wanted to, get access to a particular book that was in the forbidden section, but they couldn't get access because they are just a visitor. Oro, on the other hand, can get in there because she is the literature fairy. She's an individual who can basically pick up all the books, put them back in the right place, and otherwise doesn't read, just because reading's for nerds. They found that the book that they had isolated actually was in the wrong cover, and we suspect a young scholar named Harold who's been fucking about with the books. Inside the book cover was actually a different book titled Forgetting the Unforgettable, Mementomancy Uncovered. These two then went off in search of the other book, swapped it, and found that the book that Haiku did want, Mysteries, Myths, and Esoteria of Ancient Cormyr, had not only a very interesting chapter on something referred to as the questing beast, a creature of myth whose only purpose is to be hunted, but has never been successfully found. It describes a Sisyphean target whose in slaying it, one could procure the object of one's desire, basically. Anything that they wanted. The questing beast is what Haiku was reading about. And turning the final page, they found inside that book a key that only Haiku could access or see for some reason. Very curious, interesting. Ooh. Sisyphean, dang, we're pulling out the thesaurus for this one. As if something akin to the task of Sisyphus, who has to roll the boulder up the hill for eternity. And it just rolls back down to the bottom of the hill every time he gets into the top. Okay. Then we had Randall and Nurali. Nurali is currently embodying the High Priestess of Ogma here at the monastery, and Randall is embodying Randall, who had just given essentially a thesis defense of his research on Caspian Kinshire. Unfortunately, all of the literature that he seems to identify just disappears, and it's a very bizarre kind of possibly magic that's involved. The talk had gone very well, and the panel had given you kind of a round of applause, standing ovation kind of deal. And Nurley pulled some strings and identified that it would maybe be best for Randall to look in the forbidden section for magic as opposed to people and places, which is where Randall was previously looking. Students of the monastery can only have access to one forbidden library at a time. And then these two went about their business. Essentially, we faffed around for a little bit, but we found out that Nurley, being the head priestess, for some reason can't go to the top floor. And that's bullshit, because she's essentially the top dog. So what the fuck is that about? So Nurley, head priestess of Ogma, starts to, you know what, I'm gonna have a little look-see maybe, and starts to poke around. At the same time, she bumps into not only Haiku and Oro, but also Randall. They climb the stairs to the top floor of the library in this monastery, and they find a huge golden door. A golden door with 4 keyholes. They had but one key. After finding the right keyhole for the key, it turns. You hear a clicking clack, and you also hear the bell as it chimes for midnight. Each of you fall asleep on the spot, and you awaken as if the day had not ended, as if the day had started afresh, groundhog style. And that is where we start our day today. Okay. We had a prompt.
Yep.
Signature dish prompt.
We're all prepared for, yeah?
All prepared. We're going to start at the very, very top. We're going to have Nurley. What's your signature dish? And why?
Sorry, go ahead.
I said, what's your signature dish and why, if you would like?
I think hers would be like stuffed wild mushrooms, and it would be like a combination. Like the stuffing would be varied each time because it would have to do with like what we'd foraged along the way and what we had on hand. But it would definitely be like very hearty, very like the sort of food that you eat when you do hard work every day. So it's got a lot of like caloric content. They would just be very very hearty, very savory. And that would obviously be because she spent almost all of her life learning how to forage and living off the land and things like that. So I think it would be kind of one of those like, we can use this as a vehicle and then put things in it that taste good.
I love the idea of using any food thing as a vehicle. I will use that term as much as possible to describe. I always love to describe, especially chicken nuggets. I describe them as a vehicle for like the sauce.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like crackers are just edible plates, you know.
Yes.
Like,
Like
Yorkshire puddings here.
What'd you say, Jay?
Yorkshire puddings are good in their own. They don't need anything.
You can use them as an edible plate though, if you get them big enough.
That's true.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh yeah. And a cup if you put enough gravy in there. All right. Okay. Moving on. Haiku, what is your signature dish?
I don't think they would have one. They've been traveling around so many places for so long, I don't think they'd ever become accustomed to one type of food necessarily. So they just, they go to places and like, oh, this is nice. I'd like to have that again. But they wouldn't like go out their way to go get it. You know?
Right. Okay. All right.
Just whatever's available to them.
So they don't have like a particular meal they have very frequently. It's just whatever's accessible
available
at the time. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if it's some random magical stuff off their shell.
Do you think they've got are they picky eater, or are they just shovel in whatever they can find?
Yeah, just shoveling it.
Just shovel it. Don't just shovel. Just shovel in anything will be fine.
Both hands and an extra fork telekinetically. You know, it's efficient.
It's like a conveyor belt.
Yeah.
Or one of those big scoops you see it like in a mine where it's like going around with all the buckets, like a big bucket scoop.
I like to imagine. Okay, yeah, I would have that thing where Homer goes to hell with the donuts. Anyway,
all the donuts you want.
Okay. Anyway, let's move on before the
Simpson
Simpsons references.
That was Tom that time, not
Yeah.
me.
That was me. I take full
Dude.
responsibility for my own actions.
I would like to make a slight amendment. Most of the mushrooms now also include sprouts. Thank you.
Smart.
Thank you, Noko.
Yeah.
I was like,
Okay.
that, yeah, absolutely. That makes perfect sense now.
Okay, Oro, what's your signature dish?
I think hers is just popcorn. I think she's just very good at making very good popcorn, and she thinks it's the best thing ever.
Ah. Does she have like a particular mine is sweet and salted at the same time?
Like
Does she
kettle
have a
corn.
particular? I just love it. So good.
Mm.
What's her favorite?
I think she likes sweet and salted as well, but more salted.
Leans on the salt. I see. Okay. Does she have like a technique on how to make them like? So I know when we went to the circus, there was Oro popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
I like to imagine that the popcorn itself was like tinged green.
Yeah.
Oh,
does,
yes.
It's cute.
does she have like a special like seasoning or something that she puts on that's just flavoring that like she knows how to just make it green wherever she is?
I think she purposely doesn't do that outside of the circus to not draw so much attention to herself.
Sure. Don't want to draw
alright,
away
it's
from the
fucking-
merchandise.
Goblins up herself, and she, Jesus Christ. Young goblin popcorn. What the fuck?
Okay, cool. Chicago mix, cheddar and caramel. Oh, that sounds
tell me more.
crazy. Honestly, it sounds crazy.
Oh, hey, Nerd, thanks for the
Hot
sub. I
local
appreciate
nun.
it. Gotta say the
my
full
God.
name. Hot local nerd. Thank you.
Wonderful name. Love that.
I need to use my Prime. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope you're doing good. Thanks for dropping by. I appreciate
Bye-bye.
it.
Okay, Randall, last but not least.
Okay, so I'm gonna call back on a piece of Randall lore that those who are keeping good notes from probably like 8 months ago or more for a previous question about favorite foods. Randall's signature dish would probably be some kind of like pie or crumble of the fruit variety from growing up on a farm. So it'd be like
Nice.
like apple and rhubarb crumble or a gooseberry
Ooh.
crumble, like whatever happened to be in season. Like
Okay.
I was
I
like
feel
going
like
spare.
every time like Oro and Nerali go out foraging and we find like a fruit bush or something, we probably get really excited because we're like, we're gonna have crumble. Let's come back with all the berries and we're like, Randall, here.
Oh, that's cute. I want to live in that world. I want to live in a world where you go out foraging for fruit and you find some and you bring it back and someone makes you a pie. That's great.
Yeah.
Wow, living the dream.
Way.
What a
Okay.
dream.
Thank you very much, everybody, for giving your answers to your prompts. Thank you once again to Malkavir for submitting that prompt. Papaya's about to get banned for this.
If you got fruit based hot takes, like this is not the place.
doesn't like pies. There's gonna be doesn't like pies.
It's fine. You if you don't like fruit desserts, then you can have what I made my wife, which was a crumble because I made myself a crumble. Oh no!
Oh yeah.
Oh, No.
What do you mean no? What do you mean no?
I forgot.
Oh, I forgot to open the thing.
Oh, it's okay.
Tell me why.
I had that twice because I've got it up in 2 browsers because it only ever seems to work in one, but I was like layered over each other.
Hey, got it in quadruple stereo.
Damn
Gotta go
it.
find that link again.
Thank
so
you,
good.
Papaya. Appreciate it. I'm not rushing to change the profile at all. Manage profile, D&D, load. Okay. Damn it.
What? That's not the D&D one? I'm surprised.
This
many
is so
things.
good. That's so good. This is what happens when you like to sing songs to yourself, but somebody in the community likes to produce music.
Mm.
That's so good.
Come here.
Oh my
okay.
goodness. Okay. All right. Let's get crack-a-lacking. So in today's game, Do you guys all hear the music? I should have asked you before this. I did have the.
I do,
music on.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I personally can't DM and have music on at the same time, so I have to turn it down because I get distracted. So we start today with let's roll a dice. Can someone roll a d4 for me, please?
Whoever can do it first.
Go.
Me.
Oh,
You were yeah.
Stream delay.
Said I love you said whoever can do it first, and then immediately I like the idea of you having
enter.
it prepped.
No, I did the button on the side thing, which I never do. I always usually type it, but I was like, wait.
Oh,
Could do
I
extra
forgot.
quick.
I never use that. I always type it as well.
Yeah.
Okay, well, unfortunately for you, you are number 3. So
I feel like it was going to be whoever rolled it, whatever number they rolled, that was going to be them.
Probably right. Okay, so we start today's session on the middle floor of the monastery. Oro, you zoned out for a second there, but you're back with us. You've entered the room, and you are currently cleaning up some books that are in the classroom and putting them on shelves. You've got a couple things that you need to do today. You are aware that a couple of the little shits, the little kids, especially this one particular kid called Harold, have been moving books. They've been putting books in the wrong sections, and you know that they're doing it purposefully because everybody in this library, in this monastery, knows how to use the sections. You're basically not allowed to pick up a book unless you're certain about where you're going to put it back down. And you've chatted with them before, and in fact, in a months ago, you had the high priest Nurali make a couple of short words to these kids, and they're still fucking with you. You think they've got a vendetta against you, honestly.
Oh.
You got a couple of books that you need to put away today. One of them, you think they're pretty much all along the same route. You think you can take it through the center of the library on this floor. There's one that needs to be placed in the forbidden section on the floor below, in the people and places section, or in the people places.
People places.
People and places. Am I calling it that? It's the history and people section. I apologize. The history and people section, which is it's down where Randall has made a nest. The last couple of days, Randall has been preparing for. It's been preparing for a kind of a thesis defense kind of talk presentation that he needs to do, and he's set up down there. You haven't spent a lot of time interacting with one another, but the few times that you have, it's been when he's essentially co-opted like 20-30 different books at the same time, and as the literature fairy, that kind of causes you a bit of hassle. It's just a bit awkward. You got to be putting the books away. He's got 20 books. No one's reading 20 books at the same time, you know? He's not really interacted properly on a personal level, but all you kind of know is that he reads a lot. He's taken over this one particular place, and he's just it's just a bit of a pain for you. You also have found that there's in your trolley today one book that you don't recognize, but it seems to be tagged for the same section. The History and People's Forbidden section, titled "Are You Okay, Little One?" A memoir by Hilda the Mystic. What do you want to do with your day?
I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
How much do I remember of yesterday?
Very good question. So you feel a deep sense of connection with Haiku and Nurali, and a somewhat more strenuous connection with Randall, because you remember having a conversation with Nurali and Haiku in which they all seemed very on board with something, and Randall showed up, seemed to be involved, but wasn't 100% behind the operation. You are feeling a huge sense of deja vu about literally everything today. Okay. Absolutely everything that you've encountered. You kind of feel like you've been in this room picking up these exact books before, and it's kind of tripping you out a little bit.
Okay.
You kind of, as you're picking up the books and moving them around the trolley and taking them off the tables and putting them on your trolley to return them, you catch sight of your tattoo, or the location of your tattoo. Do you know what? Did we decide on the canon?
It's in like
for where
the
your
inner
tattoo
bit
is?
of this arm here.
Perfect. That's what I thought. I'm very glad that's the case, because if it was on your lower back, that would have been really difficult.
You catch a
on my
glimpse.
butt.
That's what I thought. Okay. So you catch a glimpse of your arm, and you remember that the connections that you'd made with these individuals was based on your tattoos.
Okay.
Which kind of it's just all been a very confusing day of the last 30 seconds that you remember.
Mm-hmm.
But you know that you need to get on doing what you need to do. Okay.
So, if that's all I remember then. If I remember that it was something about my tattoo, I assume I have my leather jacket on still.
Yep.
I'm gonna take my leather jacket off and put it on the cart thing.
Sure.
And like roll the sleeves up of my jumper so my tattoo's out. Just
Sure.
as like a reminder of this is something that has to, is on my mind.
This is on my mind today. Yeah.
Yeah. Do I remember talking to Nuralee and trying to help her?
Roll me a history check with advantage, because you rolled the highest.
Okay.
Any memory checks that you want to do about tomorrow, you can make as a history check. You will have advantage on all of them. Yes, you do remember that you had a conversation with Nurley specifically in her office. You don't really remember what it was about, but you remember like, oh, yeah, so I do this, and then I put some books back, and then I pop by High Priestess Nurley's office for something.
Right, okay. I'm gonna kind of just try and like retrace my steps then, I guess.
Sure.
In a way of like, okay, I need to put the books back. I'll go start putting some of the books back first.
Okay. So you take a step out onto this kind of little this hallway out here and across the bridge, and you remember that sure enough, one of the books on your trolley right now needs to be placed in one of these shelves, and you pop it away. This section is the religion section, so it's fairly, it's all kind of easy to follow because there are lots of copies of the same book. And many of them are textbooks that have been used in the classroom. So the ones that you've just been putting away, now you kind of slot them away. That's fine. Following your steps, following your steps or retracing your steps, you remember that you moved across the bridge over here, and I'm moving your cursor a lot. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Your character a lot. You moved to the north side of this religion section, and then you went up to this section up here where you put another book away. As you were placing a book, you noticed through the shelves a young silhouette, a small young silhouette of somebody putting a book back on one of their shelves.
How far away are they? Are they?
So they are over here, if I highlight that for you. They are actually down there through this bookshelf. They're down the corridor over there.
Okay. I want to sneakily run to them. Can I do that?
Yeah, roll me a stealth check.
No, not advantage, normal. 23.
Oh, it's a high roll. All right. Well, you managed to. Well, you want to go. How close do you want to get?
I want to. So if I'm running down here, I want to get to like this side of them to like kind of almost like trap them in the corner. Right.
Okay. So you kind of stealthily slink your way over there and start to like get into a bit of a pop, like kind of pick up the pace a little bit. And as you do so, you get very, very close. You get very, very close. But as you do so, you hear from behind you, Oro! And the kid darts. Master Coulth has shown up.
Hello.
Hello, Oro. I'm looking for a particular text today. I seem to have misplaced my signed copy.
Signed copy. Okay.
Yes, I must have lent it out to somebody, and I honestly don't know where it has gone. Could you help me find it, please?
Sure. What was it?
I'm looking for the binder's aphorism.
Do I recognize that?
Roll me a history check with advantage.
I can't remember where history is. Ah, there it is. 18.
You do remember it. The reason that you remember it is because today/yesterday you have some deja vu about trying to procure that same book for Neurali.
Right.
It's a religious text, and you're certain that it will be in the religious section. But this is Master Cool, so it's unusual that he's looking for it, but it's also more unusual that he has a signed text of it. But also, I mean, the monastic and the kind of literature academic side of the monastery have quite strong links, so it's not that surprising.
Okay, well, I guess we go to the religion section.
Oh, thank you, sweet. I mean, I don't know where it's gone, but if you could help me and I locate it, that would be very valuable to me.
It's probably those kids. Those kids are still messing with me.
What do you mean?
They're moving books. They're always moving books.
Oh, children will be children.
Children will be assholes. Yes.
Do I need to have words with them?
I mean, if you could, that'd be great. We tried, and they still do it, so...
Oh,
Maybe
maybe
more
they'll
words.
listen to a wizened old man like me.
Yes, I'm sure.
A lot of wisdom in these years.
Oh, wisdom is
I'm so wise. You know, the best wisdom that I could impart upon anybody.
What?
Don't go to the top floor. Ever.
That's good advice.
Why?
Ever, never, ever go to the top floor. Oh, just trust me on that one.
Do I
And
remember that I've been to...
I roll a history check with advantage.
Need to put this on my hotbar for today, I think. History check.
Oh, yes, you do remember. You remember, he says, don't go to the third or to the top floor, and you remember an image of standing at the top of the staircase and this huge golden door with a tree on it. You have the sense of people being with you, but you can't precisely recognize who it is that's with you.
Okay.
Okay. And so don't ever go there. Don't ever go to the top floor.
What's up the top floor? Why?
Oh, don't ask questions. Just do as you're told and listen to the wisdom of your elders.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
By the time you've had this conversation, you've walked now past or through the Elven literature section, which is where one of your books needs to go. So you kind of slot it in whilst you're walking past. And past Neurali's office, down onto the this open walking thoroughfare. And sure enough, you're pretty certain this is where the textbook should be. Can you roll me an investigation check?
Yes. Oh, advantage on normal. 17.
Oh, surely enough, you find it. There is a book here titled Binder's Aphorism, and it appears to have some scribbling of handwriting on the inside cover. And he plucks it from your hand and he says, "Oh, thank you so much, Oro. You're such a good literature fairy.
I know, thank you.
Incredible work. Very good. I'll take this now. Thank you very much."
Okay, you're welcome.
He waddles away.
Okay, Boomer.
What would you like to do next?
I assume I don't remember that that's the book that Neurali wanted.
No.
Okay. I'll just go about putting my books away then.
Okay,
So-
and we will move on to somebody else. This time we're going to go on to Randall first. Well, Randall second.
Hello,
Hello, it's me, Randall.
Randall.
All right, okay. Randall, You are on the lowest floor.
Mhm.
You are in your den, your nest that you've made. You've got texts surrounding you, and you are stressed out.
Yep.
You feel like maybe you're in your nightmare or something. It feels like you're just reliving this horrible day where you need to prepare some kind of formal presentation in front of a board of your peers, and they're going to criticize you, and that feels horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But here you are, nonetheless, in front of you, 15 books, because that literature fairy Oro keeps nagging you, so you've
Yep.
limited yourself.
I gave a couple up, which I'm sort of regretting a little bit because I keep being like, I should have kept them.
Yeah, it's really handy if I had this particular book in front of me, but not today. Today, you know that you need to prepare your final presentation that you're going to be giving in front of your peers or superiors in some cases about Caspian Kinshire. What an enigmatic, mysterious name.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard before.
And yet, at the same time, you've got nothing on him.
Nope.
Scraps here and there at best.
Uh-huh.
And you're starting to
Probably
maybe
concerning.
just grasp at straws. You need to find something, anything, anyone that can help you
Yeah.
or direct you. Can you roll me a history check, please?
Probably. Do you have my character sheet open though? Which makes it more difficult. Historic.
Slightly useful, that the character sheets.
Yeah, character sheets help with D&D.
Not that useful.
I said slightly.
Yeah, no, you've kind of out of ideas. But you know that at some point today you should talk to your supervisor, who is the High Priestess Nurali. She's been very patient with you so far, because, you know, every time you've tried to talk to her about your ongoing project, you've kind of come up with nothing.
Yeah. Was that a role for remembering things, or was that an unrelated role to that?
That was a remembering roll.
Okay.
If there's a specific role a specific thing you'd like to remember, you can roll.
It was more like whether the panic and the thinking about oh my god, what am I going to talk about would trigger a memory of the speech that Randall gave.
Ah,
previous day.
okay, all right. Yeah, go for it. Go for a history check.
Made a mistake.
you closed the character sheet. You closed it, really? The Randall-centric part of this.
Put it on your hotbar.
I didn't
After
have it popped out.
After seeing how many other roles Oro did just moments ago.
Yeah, I recommend putting it on your hotbar.
So yeah, actually, maybe you have more prepared for this talk than you thought. And actually, a couple of concepts come to you. You remember that you talked about how the point of scholarship is to chase the mystery.
Mhm.
And you remember this feeling like, actually, if I direct my narrative in this particular way, I think I could probably win them over. And you pick apart some of the bits that you actually had prepared yesterday, or in your mind somewhere, deep recess.
Yeah, so you got
brain.
have some kind of plan. Okay, bit calmer now.
Okay.
Okay.
So what do you
But
want to do with your day?
Well, I should probably speak to my supervisor first, obviously, still beforehand. But otherwise, I think probably making some notes from these books, maybe closing a couple of them, being like, oh, I should put those back, or
Sure. Put them away. Okie dokie. Or do you want to head over to Nurali now?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
Well, you walk through the foyer and you see Albert Humpledink. What's your opinion of Albert Humpledink?
he's a nice guy, but just a bit intense.
A bit intense. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. All right.
Like the
okay.
circus.
Kind of like what's best,
Don't like the circus. Okay. All right.
Oh. It took me way too long to get that.
Okay, well, you walk through, rather than around, you walk through the center area. It's kind of your usual comfort reading space is this kind of den in the center where there's like a nice little couple fireplaces, but there's someone who's kind of set themselves up in there recently, and
Newcomer.
it's
understand the way
a
of
visitor.
things.
Yeah, precisely. And you wanted us just to see if they're still there.
Yeah.
So
just,
you-
like, walk through there.
You walk past the area, you notice that the door is slightly ajar, and sure enough, you can see that there is a giant turtle bent over the tables, kind of poring over some texts. They've got maybe 3 books next to them.
What a waste.
A novice, really, honestly.
Yeah.
Did you want to pop in there and interact with Haiku at all, or do you want to keep moving to...
Oh no, Randall is definitely not confrontational enough for that. It's just like a sigh from the other side of the door and then carry on
Okay.
walking.
All right, okay.
I have a question. Is it a sad sigh or is it a passive aggressive sigh?
I think it's a little both. It's just
Okay.
like, you know, I could no, that's my spot, and also like a get out my spot.
Okay.
All right. Well, soon enough, you make your way to the front of Nerli's door. Doing so, you pass in the corridor. You see Master Kulf and you see Oro, who have just having a small conversation by some books and head down. So they haven't seen you yet. But you rat-tat-tat knock on Nerli's door. We'll go to Nerli next. Nerli, you got a number of things that you need to do today.
Mhm.
You need to ensure that you are prepared for this introduction speech you're giving. Okay, you need to give a chat to all of the individuals who are newcomers, and you kind of historically have pretty much given the same precise reading every time. You always start with the binder's aphorism, and you realize this because as you look down, you see once again you have your page in front of you, your notes that are kind of scrawled in ink that is probably several years old now at this point. You see the parchment is a little bit torn on the sides and it's a little bit old. You kind of had it shoved in a pocket whenever you've needed it. And it kind of imbues you with a sense of confidence because you know what you're talking about. You can kind of ramble on about this shit whenever you need to because you know Ogma, right? You're the high priestess. You know your shit about Ogma. But then actually, do I? Do I know my shit?
So glad we said the exact same thing.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe today's just not a good day for you. Maybe
But I have notes today.
you had notes last time.
Oh, last time I had binder's aphorisms, and that was
Yeah.
like all it said.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's basically it. Yeah, so it
Okay.
says in front of you. Start with the binder's aphorisms, ramble about how great Ogma is, and then set the first homework
Does it
assignment.
actually say that?
Gotcha.
Ramble?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Or it was more like a wing it kind of situation
Yeah.
than a ramble. But that's what you've got written down. You also know that you need to have a conversation with Randall Dundragon today. You remember that Randall Dundragon is one of your supervisees, one of the students or the monks that you've been supervising on a research project that kind of sets them apart from any of the other monks. And usually once they're done with that, Ramble is my brother. Usually once they're done with that, they are set off into the world to go do monk stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
They start off with like an in-depth literature kind of review. There's some people with PhDs in the chat that are like rubbing their temples at that. So you start off with the kind of a literature review, as it were, and you come together all this information about a person and maybe even publish it if you can, and then you push on and maybe you pursue something else.
In this world, to publish something, do you also have to pay like egregious sums of money to get your research
No, it's
out?
way
into
easier,
the...
way easier.
Okay,
You just have
good.
to- I mean, you have to pay whomever is closest that will have a printing press or whatever, like this stuff printing. But in this case, many of the monks write their own stuff. So, but anyway, you have to have a conversation with Randall today because he's got a presentation, and so far, every time you've tried to have a conversation about what he's got, he sounds like he's onto something, but also manages to worm his way out of any conversations about it. But you think to yourself, I mean, I've got a couple of things I need to get done today. What do you want to start off with?
Looking down at my notes and thinking, yeah, binder's aphorisms. do I know what the binder's aphorisms are? And then I want to know how much I remember about the day before as I'm like trying to
Sure.
think.
All right, give me a history check.
Okay.
If we get to Haiku and Haiku doesn't have a history check button ready,
I'm not good at history. Yeah. I'm going
Oh,
to spend
no.
a point to try to roll it out again.
Sure. Oh no.
Motherfucker.
this is classic Katie rolling.
It really is. This is why I play Bard, y'all. I need all those plus 17s to be effective.
Today's feeling a little bit deja vu, but you can't quite place anything.
Okay. And I probably also can't remember the binder's aphorisms, right?
Give me a religion check for that.
Oh, I think I'm slightly better at those. I am proficient in religion.
Well, you should hope so because you're the high priestess. So you can, with a 13 and proficiency, scrape together a sentence.
Okay.
Okay. So you have the first sentence, which is that an idea has no heft, but it can move mountains.
Oh, I think that's the one I knew last time. Look above my speech that I wrote out.
I'm not going to make you redo your speeches. Don't worry.
I
guess for you
that.
and Randall, you're not going to have to give a full-on speech.
Okay, and
Unless there's anything you want to add, in which case maybe.
Oh,
but
maybe.
Yeah, if you don't want to add anything to your last speech, which was excellent, by the way, both of you.
Thank you.
There's no need to add anything else on top of that.
Okay.
So you can't remember all, but you know where to find it. You know, there's a book.
Yeah.
Literally called Binder's Aphorism.
Yeah, and it's bothering me that for whatever reason today feels weird and deja vu-y, but the thing that I feel like I should know,
Sure.
like better than myself, is something I can't recall. So I think I know that my talk with Randall isn't until later, so I'm going to go try to find that book.
Sure. Okay. So you stand up and you open your door, and Randall is stood in front of you.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello. I didn't think we were speaking until later, but that's fine.
I didn't realize. I'm just a bit nervous and a bit out of sorts because I got the thing later.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had a thought, and I wanna run it. I wanna run it by you. I've got a thought.
All right. Well, come in.
Okay. So like this is everything I've been looking for has been disappearing, right? But there's little snippets. It's like a story subtracted from the world rather than a story added to the world. Like we normally look for those stories, but surely there's something in a story that used to be there and now isn't there. And there's just like a negative space where that story used to be. And I think I don't know. I feel like there's something there I could talk about what the point of this is to find these sorts of things, not. And that's why I think I'm onto something, because there's just nothing. It's like it's not that there's absolutely nothing. It's like there's an empty space where there should be something, like a dusty shelf with a clean mark on it.
Oh, he's so smart.
That's
like that. That's
yeah.
really cool. Could you roll me a history check, please, with advantage?
Advantage.
I'll scratch the middle of my forehead now. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a big red.
I'm bad at history. Why can't I alphabetize? There it is. 17.
Okay. The mini speech that Randall's just given you rings a bell. Like you've almost heard something a little bit more complete before. It doesn't sound like he's just ripped that. He's plagiarized it. It sounds like it just is. That's that sense of deja vu that you've been experiencing today in condensed form directly in front of you. You meet Randall's gaze for a moment and you think, I feel like the magic section would be good for Randall. Because this whole idea of subtracting a story is excellent. And if that maybe adds up, considering his circumstance. But in what case would a story stop to exist? That's got to be something magical.
Sounds that way. So she's like listening to you and it's like, and she gets this kind of like disturbed almost, but not like it's like she like had a thought and it made her kind of like shake her head like what? And then she'll just kind of like, I like that metaphor about the dusty shelf. She turns around and walks over to her desk and picks up a piece of paper and writes the like, he's allowed to go into the magic section thing. Whatever I probably wrote exactly the day before, like whatever just seems natural to be like, don't tell him to leave. I said so. You can come talk to me if you have a problem about it. Fold. Blow off,
seal.
Dry the ink.
Yeah.
Wax seal. And hand it to him. Say, I think you should explain how you've come to the conclusion that something has been subtracted, because wonderful metaphor, need evidence for that. But I think you should be looking in the magic section for more information if something's being deleted.
That's a really good idea. I might even have time to do that now.
You might, perhaps.
Okay. Well, I gotta go. Thank you, High Priestess.
I gotta go. Just bolts to the door. He's out of there. Okay.
I was like, oh, I forgot the letter. Like, runs back, grabs the letter. Runs off again.
And this is why I am your supervisor.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna go look for the binder's aphorisms.
Okay. So let's. We should move on to haiku now.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
It's going to be difficult to juggle everybody today because we're doing a different order, but I think that adds a little bit of cool variety to our interactions.
Spice of life.
So, apologies for getting to you last, haiku, but
That's fine.
you've been in your books, you've been reading,
Yeah.
and it's been
Nice. Getting there early.
He's just been sitting there like rubbing
I'm
his
just
hands together like
prepping
it's +8 to history. I'm just waiting.
what is it? You've rolled it now. You got to tell me what that roll was for.
Good to see what I remembered from the previous day as everyone
Okay.
else. I didn't want to get shouted at for not having a history out there ready.
Okay. So with a 21, and we all had fairly decent saves for the whole memory wipe anyway. You remember this very bizarre interaction that you had with somebody. It was that literature fairy. That's who it was. You had something in common, something important in common. And she helped you somehow, but you can't remember if it was her that helped you or if it was just like a member of faculty. No, I remember now. I had a chat with Albert Humperdinck. That guy. I remember him. Yeah, he was great. He was really helpful.
I roll a 21.
He was helpful. He took you right to where you needed to go.
He did, to be fair.
He's your best friend. You love Albert.
No, don't make me happy that anything but that.
No, I didn't add that. No, you're okay.
So, first of all, like I hear like a sigh behind me, and so I go to turn around to see who it was, and there's just no one there.
Oh no! Would you want to roll me a perception check?
Oh.
Because the door was slightly ajar.
Oh.
What?
You absolutely. In fact, you make uncomfortable eye contact. At least for you, it's uncomfortable. Can we roll a perception check for Randall as well? See if you actually notice. Above a 10, and you lock eyes.
I can't find my things.
Okay. All right. So for haiku, it's like, oh, you can see with clarity that this individual has come up to the door looked at you and where you're sat and sighed in a sad and somewhat frustrated manner, but you've not locked eyes.
What an odd fella. I'm not gonna shout out. It's a library.
Absolutely.
I am gonna go look for Albert. If I remember that Albert was helpful.
Sure. Yes. Okay.
Would I be able to recognize him? I assume I'd be able to.
Yeah. So you've seen Albert around, mostly because when visitors come, Albert's very keen to get involved through the door. So you've seen or had a very brief interaction with Albert before. Whether or not, in our previous session, you remembered that interaction is another thing. But now you take a step out the door, and sure enough, you see Albert Humpeldink. He appears to be picking up some books off of a shelf just to the south of the room that you're currently in. Do I have you moved? I do have you moved, yeah. So you come out your door here, and he's just down here.
Okay.
Albert Humpeldink is a large GIF fellow who is essentially a hippopotamus as a person, wearing a long white robe with a satchel, many satchels around his figure that have all sorts of different parchments and rolls. And
well, I'm just gonna walk up to him and I use the phrase "act like I know him." I suppose in my mind I do already know him, but
sure.
Yeah. Oh, Albert, I'm trying to find something. I don't suppose you can help me.
He turns around and he is elated that you've approached him, and that you've had this recognition. Oh, Albert. He's, oh, hey there. How's it going? Oh, I'm sorry. You remember my name, but I don't remember yours. What is it? One more time.
I'm Haiku.
Haiku.
If you
Of
forgot
course
me.
you are. I'm so sorry. I'm just lots of visitors. It's just so nice to be recognized. What can I help you with? Can I do anything for you?
Well, I'm looking for a book, but I don't know which book it is.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm looking for an artifact. And I think a book might help me find the artifact. I don't know which book it is. Does that make sense?
Now, do you know just where that artifact is?
I can tell you.
I mean, is it native to this place? Is it Cormier? That's a
yes.
So
it's Cormier.
Okay, and what makes you believe that? Just out of curiosity, he starts walking. He's trying to make conversation with you.
I mean, it must be here. I mean, I come from a long line of explorers and collectors, and this is pretty much my designated area to look from the family.
Oh, that's fascinating. Wow. So they've looked everywhere else.
Stuff on the shell is what I've found so far. If you want to have a peek.
Oh, that's incredible. You've found so many things.
Mm-hmm.
You ever gonna write your own book about artifacts?
You know what? I might just do that.
That'd be incredible. Or we could put it in the library.
Oh, yeah. You'll be in the acknowledgements.
So you walk through the thoroughfare, and as you do so, you briefly spot an elderly gentleman and a small goblin walking in your direction. They seem to be in their own conversation, and you don't make any real connections immediately. But that might have been Oro. You're not sure which one. It could have been the old man. You just remember the name Oro as someone who helped you and who was a member of staff.
Okay.
And it could have been the old man because you interacted with the old man very, very briefly. Did you interact with the old man very, very briefly? I think he showed up in a conversation at one point, and maybe you didn't. That's the beauty of deja vu, baby.
I imagine I would have seen him anyway, just from being in the library.
Sure. Yeah, no, you definitely would have. Yeah, 100%. He's an old codger. He's walking around.
Do I notice everyone walking past in there whenever they do?
We will get to that in a moment when we get back to you.
All right.
But in the meantime, Haiku, you're kind of in a conversation with Albert, which is the main reason that you don't think, oh, now's a good time. Oh, wait, I need to go talk to this person. You're actually kind of having a conversation, and Albert seems really interested in your collection, and that is an excellent topic for you. So you're kind of actually really quite enthused about talking about it. But as you get through here, we are on the wrong floor. You go to the top floor, not the top floor, the second floor. Move you over
It's the
here.
top floor of a 3-floor building.
Give me a break. You walk up the stairs and you are walked to the forbidden section. Not forbidden section. Walked into the section for places, and here you can see that there are some books that have been kind of directed towards you.
Is it like right next to the forbidden zone?
Well, you start to browse some of them, and you can see there are all sorts of books here, including Faerun and its ancient loci. Why are they in the shape of a smiley face? The Plains, A Hitchhiker's Guide, and Text R's, How Bigots Got Lost in Time, as well as a couple of books that you kind of graze past as you're going towards the section that's based more on Cormyr. You see a couple from your homeland, one that's described as Chult, A Tourist's Guide, and Chult, Don't Ever Go Here, and Is Any of This Real? Chult edition. But you find the books that are more Cormyr localized. Could you roll me a perception check, please? With advantage.
So...
Oh my god. Yes, okay, so you across this kind of small velvet rope, as it were, that separates you from the forbidden section, you see a book that is named Mysteries, Myths, and Esoteria of Ancient Cormyr.
Do I recognize this from the previous day?
Roll me a history check.
Should have been expecting that.
That book definitely resonates with you.
Okay.
You have a strong sense of, that's the one I need. That sounds amazing.
Okay. I'm still sort of talking with Albert at this point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, despite how well me and Albert are getting on at the moment, I personally don't think he'd be the type of person to help with breaking the rules. It doesn't strike me as.
Would you like to give me an insight check to see if that's if that's true?
No.
Yeah, that's 100% the read that you get on Albert. It does not require a very high roll to get that read on Albert. That is absolutely the read that you get on Albert.
Okay, so he's very much sticking. Okay.
He's a stickler for the rules. He seems very happy to help, but he's also he doesn't seem like he's going to be someone who's going to bend any rules for you.
Okay. I would like to attempt to, while you're still talking to him, I was sweet talking him, telekinetically sort of slide the book off the shelf and just plonk it onto the shelf, Just
Sleight of hand roll, please.
Oh no!
Remote
No!
So you kind of bring your focus behind you. You start to, with your gauntlet, start to make some shapes. So you're trying to kind of just pull it a little bit off the shelf if you can, and surely enough, you do precisely what you want to do. In fact, even you think that you've got your gauntlet behind your hand well enough that he couldn't have seen that it was you that was doing it. But the face that you're making whilst you're trying to concentrate on this and the conversation at the same time gives you away. You're focusing on, you're trying to keep a conversation going whilst looking innocuous. You're doing something whilst looking in the opposite direction, and you're doing it telekinetically. That's quite a lot of things you got to be juggling at the same time. So you kind of, as you're focusing, you kind of like your eye starts to twitch a little bit. And as your eye is twitching, a bead of sweat comes down your brow, and the book falls to the floor. And Albert, immediately we get the Albert did not like that.
Everyone was disappointed.
Yeah. Was that you?
How could it have been me? I've been talking to you the entire time.
I'd like you to do a deception roll, please.
Deception.
Oh, okay. All right. No, you're right. You have... Yeah, I'm sorry. That's just a bit unusual.
That's no offense taken. It is the Forbidden Zone. It was very weird.
Yeah, well, see, I'm not allowed in there, and neither are you. Could you come with me just a second, please? I've just got to get someone to help clear that up because I can't do it myself. If you just come with me, because I think I saw her a second ago. So he kind of steps into the concourse and he brings you with you.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, Oro, could you help me out, please?" My Scottish accent's gone to shit. I've not done it enough recently. It's so bad. You know what it is? It's because Papaya has occasionally graces us with his presence, and I'm really self-conscious of my Scottish accent now. It used to be okay, then I've stopped doing it a lot, and now it's really bad. And I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is.
We need to get Papaya in just for these little bits. Get him pre-recorded.
Pre-record. Sound alerts for Papaya. There you go.
We need a text-to-speech Papaya.
Yeah.
It went from middling to now too self-conscious and actively bad. But so you step out into this concourse with Albert, and sure enough, he calls over to Oro. Oro, do you turn around? Doing so, you see Albert Humperdinck stood next to Haiku, who you vividly remember. You're not sure where, but the connection is immediately made when you see Haiku's tattoo.
Okay. Oro looks like she turns around. She's like, and she's like, "Oh, yeah. I'll come help you. Yeah.
That's just a book fell off the bookcase somehow, and we just need to get it put back up. And I don't technically have access to this forbidden
it's
section.
them ghosts again.
Yeah, it was like a ghost pulled it off.
It was a bit like a ghost.
So there's ghosts around here. You know that.
I don't want to talk about ghosts.
Ghostly things happen around here.
You didn't mention this place was haunted, Albert. You should have said that.
I didn't say anything about it being haunted. I don't think it's haunted.
I mean, you should have though.
I don't think it's haunted.
It's definitely haunted.
Oh, I don't think it's haunted.
All old places are haunted. This is very old. It's haunted.
Who's died here?
You don't want to know.
Nobody dies here.
I'll go to the third floor.
He looks at you, a deadpan face, and says, "No, don't ever go to the third floor."
Exactly. That's where there's ghosts.
The top floor, not the third floor. The top floor.
It is the third floor.
You should just make it
Because
canon.
when you count, you start at 1.
Yeah, you start at 0.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
You
But
just
there
make it
can't be a
canon
0
that
floor.
there is
0
no
is the absence
standard.
of floors.
Just make it canon in Cormier or in the whole of the
They
playroom.
switch
There is
back
no
and forth.
standard for
There's no
what
standard,
floor you enter on.
Uh-huh.
And everyone has a
So
different
what-
idea of
what-
what it is.
When you get into the third floor, there's a sign saying third floor, second floor, top floor,
Yeah.
all together. And then below it, first floor, second floor, third floor.
I love it.
But you follow around the section, you see that there is, in fact, a book on the floor. In the forbidden section.
Okay. Do I recognize the book?
You don't recognize it immediately.
Okay.
But before we continue with that, Nerily, you've taken a couple steps out onto the concourse, and you've just seen the back foot of Oro as she steps away. And Randall, you are currently on this floor, but you have kind of dealt a split. Honestly, you've gone looking for the magic section.
Yep.
So you are
I'm
kind
out
of
of here.
You're out of here. You've taken the steps down
At
outside
speed.
of Nerly's office, and as you take those steps down, you see just a little bit of Oro. As she turns around, you hear the voice of Albert Humpledinck, and you think, "Oh no, 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 no!"
I double down on my speed.
Yeah, okay. But Nerly, you take steps down onto the concourse, and you see Oro, who is probably going to be your first port of call, honestly. But it appears that she's been nabbed.
Seeing that, I'll go over to the religion section myself. Surely there's like a whole section for Binder's aphorisms, right?
Basically, the entirety of this central region on this level of the floor is all of the religious texts.
Okay.
It is the main point of focus for this library. And turns out Oro was stood precisely where you might think the Binder's aphorism is. Aphorism. Keep saying aphorism. Aphorism.
Okay, I thought it was aphorism, and then you said aphorism, and I was like, crap, I got it wrong. I have to say
no. Welcome to my
now.
life. Aphorism. No, you were right. So Oro's kind of walked away, but she was pretty much where you'd think the aphorism would be. And you get down there. Can you give me an investigation check?
Yeah.
I'd love to.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Honestly, how much time are you willing to spend to commit to this?
I think I have this like, I should know where these are. She's even by this section. And I go over there and I kind of look and I'm like, where's Oro?
Okay. All right. Okay. That's better. Because if you'd said that you were really willing to dedicate yourself to this, you would have literally ended up on a different floor, I think.
No.
Okay. All right. So instead, maybe do you look for Oro actively, or do you patiently wait? Because Oro, you know where Oro's gone. She's just stepped away.
Who was she with again?
She was with Albert Humpledinck and a turtle person that you've not seen before.
Oh, Albert. Yeah, I'll go find her, but it's the thing where you kind of like gingerly go to the place where you know someone's gonna be and kind of do the like, ooh, is that person still there?
Yeah,
and I'll watch
sure.
and see if Albert leaves, and if after they talk for a bit, if she's still engaged with this person,
Sure.
and Albert doesn't leave, then I'll eventually kind of do the
Sure. Okay. All right. So Albert, Oro, and Haiku are now in the places, the locations section of the library, adjacent to the forbidden section. And Oro, have you stepped into the section to clean up the book?
I think currently I'm bullshitting about some ghost story to try and freak out
Yes.
Albert.
Oh, right. Okay. So what is your idea that you want to make Albert leave because you're trying to spook him with the ghosts?
I think Oro had already just knows that she likes to fuck with Albert, and
Right. Okay. Sure.
just likes to get him to doesn't want to talk to him and knows ghost stories. He doesn't enjoy them, so just like, ooh, it's got a spooky thing happening here, huh?
I'm just trying to help this Haiku person out.
I can help him. Don't worry about it. I got it. The ghosts are up
Hi,
here.
two-person. We know each other, Albert.
I know. I've really enjoyed our conversation, honestly. Haiku, if
Okay,
you'd like
just
to have
checking.
dinner, can we have dinner tonight? I'd like to invite you. I've got a special
Is
dish.
she asking you out on a date?
Oh my god.
Yeah, well, what's your special dish?
Well, I've got this lovely stew that I make with beef and potatoes. I'll throw some sprouts in there occasionally. I learned it from our
no.
high priestess.
Oh, with gravy,
Oh, yeah, of course.
homemade.
Wait, did you just ask? Sorry, did you just ask if he puts gravy on a stew?
It's the
Stew
dumpling.
might be different.
Okay, continue. Sorry, go ahead.
We'll chat about. I'm just so curious about your collection, and I thought it'd be nice to maybe
Yeah,
have a bit of a chat.
yeah. I'll if I see you around, we'll arrange a time.
I'll catch you later for the dinner bell. Just listen out for the dinner bell. I'll call you aside and we'll have a chat.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, all right. I'll leave it. Auto's very good. She'll help you out. I'll get back to what I was doing. Okay.
See you in a bit, Albert.
Ooh.
And immediately bumps into Nurali. Head priestess. Hello there. Can I do anything for you today? Are you well?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking. You could do me a favor. That's very important, actually.
Anything, of course, anything. Yeah.
Do I remember that Oro has told me before about somebody switching books? Switching covers?
Honestly, no. It was a long
No.
time ago for your character.
Okay. Do I remember that from our conversation yesterday?
You can roll a history check. No.
With advantage because I'm nearby.
Katie rolls, Katie rolls, Katie rolls, Katie rolls.
Lots of threes.
Does whatever a low roll does.
Yeah. If you could find me your favorite copy of the Binder's aphorisms.
You drunk?
I say it properly the first time, but
Sure,
I second guessed myself because now I'm like, we just talked about this. Was it supposed to be aphorism or aphorism?
Aphorism,
Oh
yeah.
my god.
Aphorism, yeah. Well, we only have the one copy, and it's Master Kulth's. That's why the students love it so much when you give it as your conversation piece, because it's such a rare piece of literature.
Right. I thought I'd set someone about to making a copy.
Well, we had honestly, I think you might have put Randall on it, but Randall's been busy.
No, he's been working on a very special project. You know what? That's something you could do. It would do us a lot of good
Of course
to have a second copy.
That's very wise of you. I'll get that done the second that we find a copy.
Mr. Kuth's got it.
Yeah.
You saying Mr. Kuth's got it?
Yeah, I just showed it to him.
There you go. Why don't you go fetch that one for me and bring it back to me, and I'll be in my office.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, of course. Anything for you, I'll get right onto it. And he hops, skips, and jumps away. You are left in the company of, company adjacent to Oro and Haiku, who you've not really had much of a conversation with up to this point. And really, you don't need to be here.
Yeah. It's one of those things where she's kind of like, how did I not know there was only one copy?
You're having a rough day.
She's like thinking this in her head, like, what is going on?
Could you give me a perception check with disadvantage, please?
Oh god, yes, that's fair.
Because you're so distraught.
Proficient in perception.
That's something.
Hey!
Oh,
I wasted 2 good rolls. One good roll. Why? This is the only 2 good rolls I'm gonna have all day.
You notice Oro's tattoo for the first time, maybe ever. It's uncanny. You have the same tattoo. That's crazy.
And surely I know I'm older than Oro. Actually, am I technically? I think in this world, I don't know. What will you tell me if I think that's true or not?
Well, let's say that the character that you are embodying is older than Oro's character.
Okay. Huh. I'm gonna watch them for a second. Not in I'm your supervisor kind of way, but just kind of like I've noticed this and I'm waiting to see what they're in the middle of before I'm like, where did you get that?
Sure.
Do I recall Nurali now being there? Now I've.
You can roll me a history check with advantage.
Okay.
Oh, nice though.
Come on, I gotta get some of that. That was nice.
You don't recall precisely, but you do remember that you've got this. There's some underlying connection that you recognize that Head Priestess Nurali was part of.
Okay, because I've pulled my sleeves up. I think if I'm around anyone who I'm slightly, are you the person? Are you the person? I'm doing things with my arm that's obviously
yeah.
Just I'm so tired today. Checking, doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do I notice Nurali looking at me? Being like,
I mean, she made no effort to be secretive about it.
Yeah, I'm not hiding it or anything.
could I help you, High Priestess? Do you need anything?
Where did you get that tattoo?
It was from a previous adventuring party I was in. Before here. Why?
I'll just kind of like pull back the like sleeves of the robes, like gather them up or whatever, because hers is like right on her wrist,
Sure.
and it incorporates her little birthmark thing, I think.
Yeah,
Or it was on her arm. Did she get
No,
two
no,
tattoos?
you're right. That's it.
Okay, yeah. It's just that they have like embellishments, because I remember there being like a night sky
Yeah, you
around
you
mine.
had a tattoo, and then it was the tattoo that you had also was embellished with the magic.
Okay. Yeah, so it's on her like wrist area. I have one too.
It is you. Aura's like jumping up and down. It's like, okay. Haiku,
Yeah.
do you have
That's a pretty name.
do you have a
Thank you.
have a tattoo like this one, maybe?
Yeah. I'll have a closer look. Like this?
Yeah, like that. Has anyone been getting deja vu today? Maybe.
I've been feeling all sorts of odd things today, among them a deja vu.
Yeah.
Something's definitely wrong.
Yeah. I think we should. We got some things to do, as together. I think it's important.
Does that ring any bells for me about what we're doing, or what like any like memories, like some having all this deja vu? If I think back to like what
You can
are
give
we
me
doing?
a history check
Okay.
that will you'll have a fail forwards backup.
Okay.
Because you've
I
been rolling
also
like
do
shit. I literally said because you've been rolling like shit as it happened. You don't have any clear recollections of anything that happened yesterday. However, you do have a deep sense of a keen sense of holy intervention.
Ooh.
And this is misplaced, but that's what you've got going on right now. You feel like maybe something divine is bringing you together. It's perhaps the power of Ogma. Perhaps there's some kind of secret here that you need to be unraveling.
Definitely
some
Ogma.
knowledge. Yes.
No
As
one
100%
else.
Ogma. Yeah.
100% Ogma.
Yeah. You don't think there's anything magical or mysterious necessarily going on that's like you're getting deja vu, but you don't have any recollections, any clear recollections of this day being played out before. But you do have a sense of, okay, all right, Ogma, you're testing me today, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll go along with your plan.
Your
This little
plans.
play that we're going to play.
What are you going to teach me today, you little minx?
High Priestess nearly got a weird connection with Ogma.
Yeah. There's some sense of purpose. I couldn't tell you what. But it isn't anything that's on my list for today. What time is it? Do I need to be going and giving that speech now?
Real soon.
Yeah.
What have you got to do
I'll be
today?
back.
Yeah.
I'll have to go give a speech to the new initiates, the
Okay.
new students.
Me and Haiku will probably be hanging around. So.
Okay. I will come find you.
Okay.
And I just gotta leave. Just like
Okay.
looking confused and distracted.
All right. Well, we'll scoot over to Randall. Randall,
Hello.
you've arrived at the magical section, the forbidden section for magic. it is the first time you've ever been in here, and it's a bit exciting to have a whole new branch of forbidden literature to be pouring through.
So much.
This has a bunch of accidental wrong people in it, so I'm putting you up there now. We're over here. So you are kind of just looking over the spines of these books at the moment and see if you can find anything that maybe lines up with anything. Could you give me an investigation check, please?
I can. Do you want me to succeed at it?
That would be good for for furthering the story.
Well,
not necessary, but good for it. Lock your story progression behind investigation checks, especially
That's
when
lucky.
your character doesn't have any modifications for it. So, whilst you are here, you find a bunch of other tomes that you find to be curious. One of them is Turbulence in Time. Another is Necromancy and Dragonkind. And the last but not least, you've got Living Without Life, A Lich's Romance. None of these are really looking all that interesting to you, to be honest.
No, they're just.
You were initially really excited about being here, but now.
No, I guess I'll just keep looking in case, like Nurali must have sent me here for some reason.
Sure.
High Priestess must have sent me here for some reason. Like, it must.
So you're going to spend another however long searching for these book backs.
It's like I kind of need something for my to do my speech based on.
100%. You can give me one final investigation check.
Can I not incite the books into knowing which one?
Incite them.
Incite them into showing me the right one.
No.
Wow.
You could pray to Ogma.
I love that you actually thought about it for a second.
Yeah.
Like, can I really justify? No, I can't.
Don't worry about it.
This.
Oh.
Just buying time, waiting for the random numbers to come up so I can get the right time.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Just buying time. You find a book that has the cover Forgetting the Unforgettable, Mementomancy Uncovered. To you, that starts to ring bells. You've got a whole kind of, what the fuck are those machines where it's very complicated for something very small to happen?
Oh, Rube Goldberg.
Rube Goldberg.
Yes, you got a whole
machine,
Rube
yeah.
Goldberg machine going on in your head of just like fucking everything, all these cogs were in before you finally come to this conclusion of, well, the story that I'm chasing is disappearing, right? So maybe there's something in that. Maybe it's something to do with memory and how everyone's forgetting everything. But maybe it goes further than just our memory. It's seeping into the written word. Something seriously very powerful could be at play here. Maybe magic is where I should be looking, and this book could be the answer.
Yep.
And you pull it out, and you start leafing through it, and you find that it's filled with completely irrelevant stuff. This doesn't look like the book that you're looking for, and you
Scrawlings of a madman.
Scrawlings of a madman, completely irrelevant. Whoever's interested in this book is a fucking idiot. You look at the front cover, and the front cover is for a book called Mysteries, Myth, and Esoteria in Ancient Cormyr.
But that's not what it said on the side.
Correct, yeah. It has a cover on it that is covering the front cover. Somebody's been fucking with this book. Someone's put it in the wrong cover.
Well, I look around and like, is there a book fairy here? No. Okay. Well, I better find, like, see the other one. Did you say they have like a marking on them for when they're from a forbidden section?
Yes. Yeah. They have the bookmark, like the silk kind of bookmarks.
So I know that at least it's in this section. So I'll just go and look for the right book cover with the wrong book in it.
So you know that it's in a forbidden section.
Oh, just
so
not
it belongs
which one.
to a forbidden section, but not which one.
Oh, okay. Then I won't try and do that then.
But you read the front cover, and it says mysteries, myths, and esoteria of ancient Cormyr. You could give me an insight check or an intelligence. Maybe it's probably better to have just a flat. Insight. Give me an insight. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Hot diggity dog.
You suspect that this tome belongs in the forbidden section for locations.
Oh, but I'm not allowed in there. Oh.
Yeah.
Now Randall is torn because it's like, I need to do this thing, it's really important, but also this book is in the wrong place, and I need to sort that out.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe something will come to me while I go and find someone to sort this out. I guess Oro can probably do that, although...
Can I interject with a technicality if it's all right?
Yeah.
Technically, you're still officially cleared for the people and locations one. I just gave you a
No,
slip that
history
said...
and people. History and people.
Oh,
I
I thought
fucked
you
it up.
said-
No, I did.
okay.
I fucked it up
Okay.
previously.
Okay.
That is-
Never mind.
No, that's completely. It's completely on me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, yeah. So Randall previously had access to history and people, not locations and people, which is my fault. I slipped up.
Can I also swing by my nest and just pick up a couple of the least interesting books as like a peace offering?
Sure. Okay. So you want to go try and find Oro?
Yeah, I've just got a little stack of books. They're like, oh, I need to find Oro.
You just start looking around. Could you give me an investigation check, please?
You're only doing that because you know it's terrible.
I'm trying to see how much
what is
time
this?
you spend looking for Oro before, because we're ticking time down before you need to give your presentation. Okay. So what's going to happen is we're going to move over to Nurli very briefly, as Nurli steps down towards the classroom where she'll be giving a talk for the new coming students. As you step into the hallway, or across the threshold, you hear the voice of Albert Tumpledink somewhere in the corridor before the door closes behind you, and Master Kulth kind of comes and locks the door and just winks and shushes the children.
Oh, I heard Albert though.
You heard Albert in the corridor, but all the new initiates are now silent, waiting.
Was he saying my name or did I just hear his voice?
You just heard his voice.
Okay. Hello, everyone. And I'll go over to Lectern, and you said we're not going to do like the speeches again, but I'll add to it just like that specific line from the Binder's aphorisms.
Sure.
And then I remember the last time that I gave homework of like helping Oro sort out the books, but that was unexpected. Like I remember that, but I think I only knew to give that because I knew that the books were being switched, and now I don't know that.
Sure.
So do I remember what the actual homework assignment was supposed to be?
Honestly, the Nurli that is the head priestess here tends to just kind of come up with it on the spot. Historically,
everything. Okay.
Yeah. I've based this off of your DMing style.
Okay, that's fair. Oh my god. Lol. Oh man.
But on multiple so again, you've been at this job for quite a long time, but occasionally you'll repeat yourself, and that has usually been a very minor literature review of go find a book, summarize the story that you find within it, that kind of stuff.
Book reports. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So give this speech. And I'll set them all about to finding anything they can about. Did Randall tell me the name of the person he's researching?
He didn't today.
Didn't today, but I would know because I am his supervisor.
Yes.
I would assume at some point it would have come up.
Yeah.
No. Everyone's homework assignment is to go and find any little snippet of a story they can about Caspian Kinshire.
Really love the idea of you giving a bunch of first year initiates a homework assignment they are destined to fail.
It's basically impossible.
But
Your first-
sometimes the lesson is in failure, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. That's so good. Okay. Well, Master Kuth comes up to you and he says, "Oh, High Priestess Noelia, you usually give the binders aphorisms. Are you feeling okay?"
I do feel like Ogma has sent me on a path today that I'm not sure the outcome of, but that it's taking me to different places than I normally am, so.
Oh, yes, we all have those days, don't we? Quite.
Hmm.
Well, you know, it is my favorite part of your introductory speech. I do hope that you include it the next round of students that we have.
I'll take that under advisement. Remind me who signed your copy, by the way.
Really glad that you asked that question. Thank
uh-huh.
you so much.
I wanted to know, like, this is the holy text. Who signed this?
Shit. It was signed by the very first of the monks that was writing the texts out. You see, there are only very few copies available. We have only the one. It was signed by Deacon Arksember.
Lovely.
Oh, yes, he was a dear friend of mine back in my youth.
Perhaps what Ogma's telling me to do is to sit down and look at the aphorisms with fresh eyes. Would you mind if I borrowed that? I know I sent Albert to come find you earlier, but I suppose he probably got caught up with one of the visitors or something. And
Yes, certainly, yes,
Mhm.
yes. I lent it to the young lad moments ago.
Ah, he's probably waiting for me in the hallway then. Thank you.
Okay, well, I suppose I'll see you later for Randall's presentation.
Yes, I think it will be quite interesting.
I hope so. Goodbye for now. And he walks away.
Okay. Gonna go out the door and try to find Albert.
Albert is approaching Oro and Haiku. Albert has come
How dare
back,
he.
and he's. I looked in Nerly's office and she's not there. Do you know where she is?
Didn't she say? Did she say she was going for a tour? Did she say that to us? I'm getting confused on what I've heard and what I've heard in game.
Sorry, go ahead.
If you don't know where she is, that's okay. She seemed really desperate to need this, and
Oh,
said
we were
she'd be in her
gonna
office.
see her in a bit, so I could give it to her.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think I'll get in trouble if she doesn't get it.
Do I
For
know
me,
that?
she asked me to do it, and if I give it to someone else and you don't do it, I mean, I trust you, but I'm just, I'm going to get myself in trouble. That's a very rare book.
Do I know if today is the first day of a bunch of new kids coming in?
Give me a history check.
Okay. Solid 10s today.
No, you do not.
Well,
It's not really in your periphery.
Yeah. Well, we said, I mean, me and High Priestess were supposed to meet up again after, so, I mean, I can take that from you, it's fine.
I really, I'm not comfortable with it for now. Is that all right?
What, do you not trust me? Do you not trust me to do it?
I trust you.
You know what I do every day? Points at
I don't know, but
the
she asked me specifically to do it, and I love to do things for Nerly. I'll just get it.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd get it.
She's your elder, you shouldn't get over that.
I'm just a very studious pupil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no, excuse me, please. I'll see you later.
Okay,
Bye,
where are you?
Haiku.
What if I find her before you find her? Where are you gonna be? You gonna go find her?
Well, I'm gonna go. If she'll return to her office at some point, I'm just gonna go sit outside her office.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Goodbye
Right.
for now.
Bye.
Later.
Ooh.
And he leaves. Nerdy, you come out of your talk and eventually bump into Albert.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I had to go.
I found
through
it
the
for you.
initiates. Thank you. Very good work.
Thank you very much. I'll just had to pull in a couple of favors for Master Kulth, and guess I'll be transcribing another textbook for him as well. And it's what you do for.
That's why you're here, right?
Yeah, not like I've got a lot on my plate right now, but that's fine. That's okay. It's just
Well, you have your
doing
whole
the
life
job.
to complete these things.
Yep, spending all my life here in the monastery, writing down about stories that aren't mine. Anyway, I'm happy to help. I'll see you around. Okay, bye bye. He kind of sullenly strops off. But sure enough, you've got the signed copy of the binder's aphorisms.
Lovely. I just flip through it like, all right, Agma, what's going on?
All right, Ogma, what you got here? All right, so you find the so basically it's a long kind of a Bible sort of thing that you're looking at here. It's like an ancient textbook of you suspect that this is, you know, maybe a second or third edition run of a book that was written a very long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the famed passage is: an idea has no heft, but it can move mountains. An idea has no authority, but it can lead people. An idea has no strength, but it can push aside empires. Knowledge is the greatest tool of the mortal mind, outweighing anything made by mortal hands. Before anything can exist, the idea must exist. And the underlying concept is basically how incredibly important knowledge is, and how powerful the mind can be, and our ability to conceive of things is a power and a tool in itself. And that resonates very deeply with your character, even if it kind of strikes you as confusing and odd that you couldn't find it previously, or that it just wasn't. Honestly, you've read it so many times, you'd think you'd know it off by heart by now.
Yeah.
You didn't. And that's fine. As you're leafing through, you find there is a odd weight to this book. It's almost like there's a hollow back end to it. You turn a page. Sure enough, there is a deep groove in the pages, as if it was supposed to house something, but it is empty.
Feel around in there, nothing.
Nothing.
Interesting. Close the book. Kind of keep it with me. Just gonna carry it around.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Very much looking like a religious figurehead carrying around the Agma Bible, trotting around our monastery.
Okie.
And I'll go back to where Oro and Haiku are.
All right, well, that's perfect because you bump into him. At the same time, Randall appears on the scene.
Oh, there you are. Okay, I've got hi Oro. I've brought some books that I can go back. I'm kind of done with them, but also I found this other one. That's
Your perception check, please, Dobbs. Jenny's doing this. No idea.
Too busy just like looking at the books, like yeah. And then there's this one, and it's got like the wrong cover on it. Someone's put it in the wrong sleeve, and I didn't know which. It's obviously a forbidden section, and I don't know which one it is. I might not be able to go in there and just.
You've got maybe 5 minutes until your talk starts.
Also, I really gotta go soon, so.
Okay, yeah, I'll
It's
sort it.
you. You were watching me earlier around the door. There was someone like peeking around the door at me and made like some kind of like.
I actually got a talk
sigh.
to go to, and I'm like.
I take the books from him, but with my arm like this.
Thanks, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
What was the sigh about?
Look, I gotta go. I really gotta go. There's a meeting that I gotta go to, and it's really important. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, good
I've
luck.
got my eye on you.
Oh my god, I love it.
All right, so but ignoring the awkwardness that Haiku just forced on Randall, I loved that. That was very funny.
That was wonderful.
That was very funny. What was the outcome? Because you had the book cover for the book that you wanted, but not the book. So you handed that over to Oro and said, "Oro, this is the wrong book for the wrong cover." But what was the outcome that you wanted for that?
I didn't even think about asking for the book that I actually wanted.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. In which case, we're not going to retcon that. We're not going to go back. It's too late. You've walked away.
Yeah. Randall's like, I've got this thing in 5 minutes, and this is guy
that's fine. That's
I
fine.
thought I sneakily sighed at, and like, apparently not. And now it's awkward because every time I walk past, I can't look in anymore. So I'm never going to be able to go to the comfy spot in the middle of the library again. I have to find a new place.
Okay, all right. So we're going to get real close to your talk right after a bio break, I think. If you guys want to have a little bit of a bio break, I need to pee.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay, right.
Time.
If you are new to our stream, we have a bio break, usually around halfway. We've maybe overskipped that a little bit. We do our business and we come right back. We don't have a preset 10-minute thing or whatever. Just, you do what you need to do. Take a stretch, take a sip of some water. We'll be back shortly. Look up penis.
The straw on the board. Jesus. Careful what you say. Oh.
No, never.
Oh.
So close. I'll do.
That'll do. Okay. Well, yeah, everyone go stretch. Get a drink. Do whatever you need to do. We'll be right back. I'm thinking about maybe doing a... No, because I can't do like a video. Because people come back at different times and they start talking to chat. I don't think that'll work. I'll be right back.
Hello? Oh my goodness, it's the first time in maybe months that I've come back first. Every other time someone else is here before me, I'm kind of excited. I could talk about all kinds of shit. No one's ever even going to know. These guys aren't going to come back and watch the VOD. I could do anything right now. Today's, instead of doing anything fun, I'm going to describe my snack of choice for today. Today is Roundtree's Fruit Pastels. That definitely do not sponsor the stream. But I have a pack that only has strawberry and blackcurrant in it. You think that's it? You think that's all I have? You don't know me. I also have Dairy Milk Brownie Bites. That's right, topped with Cadbury Dairy Milk chocolate. And these are good until 14th of May. A fruit pastel? Oh my goodness. It hadn't occurred to me that you didn't know what a fruit pastel was. I do. This is a fruit pastel.
Oh, it is basically just sugar.
It's delicious.
Oh, they are good, don't get me wrong. Hey, Tombo.
Hi, Tombo.
Yeah, I really like the Scottish accent too.
Thank you very much. I'm feeling a bit self-conscious about my accents recently because we played a game the other day and some people said they didn't like my accent that I was doing. I did a pirate accent and they didn't like it.
Pirate accent.
It's very chewy. It's a soft chewy though, not a hard chewy.
Yeah.
It's an important distinction.
What?
Because sometimes it's like so they're a bit similar to American hard candies that we have. That's what we have them called as, I think. But they're not as hard.
He's talking about fruit pastels, by the way.
Oh.
The clown voice must die.
Yes, true.
What? What do you mean? What do you mean? Is that sound alert on the D&D
Oh,
one?
I don't think it is in the D&D one. I should add it though. Does that make sense?
Maybe I'll beg Jenny to send some in the next sticker club. The I've wanted to send snacks over to America so many times, but do they have weird rules about sending like food over to America?
There will be, yeah.
Because I think I looked into
It might
it.
upset the wildlife.
Yeah, Roundtree's fruit pastels. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There might also be like tariffs and all sorts of stuff in place.
Yeah, because I wanted to do that for Katie multiple times. I've been like, gonna send some snacks to Katie.
There's also some of our snacks that are illegal, like Kinder eggs.
Oh my
Shame.
goodness! No Kinder
They're
eggs
illegal.
over there.
Nope, they're illegal. You get them, but they're separate, I think.
Oh, the toys and the food.
Or they just do the chocolate. Maybe they don't do the toys at all. But yeah, it's illegal to put a toy in in food in America.
So I sent Katie some. I purchased some imported Cadbury's Dairy Milk and got it sent over to Katie. And I was like, okay, I want to make sure that Katie's having like actual dairy milk. And she said it was good, so that's something that's good. But I read on Reddit like a couple of days ago, someone who lived in the UK and moved to America and had dairy milk over there. And apparently over there it exists, but it's made by the people that make that other shit chocolate. What's it called?
Hershey's.
Hershey's. Apparently they make dairy milk over there. But I think the one that I bought for you was imported from England. So it wasn't the shit version.
Yeah, all the stuff you sent was like not American made stuff.
But I also accidentally sent you Jesus sweets.
That was so funny.
Did you not hear about this?
I have the what have I done with it? I think I must have eaten the last one. Oh, here's the wrapper still.
Oh, thank you, Fobs. Hello.
I just ate the very last one
Fobs.
the other day, like yesterday. So
Hi, Jaded.
it's these candies, if that looks familiar to you at all. Okay, but when they arrived at the top, it says scripture candy. And I kind of had to laugh because I was like, oh, I didn't realize that this was one of your favorite candies or something. And every single one that you open has like scripture on it. Hold on, there's a torn wrapper. Let me grab it and I'll read one to you.
I love the idea that you've actively been tearing them on purpose every time you open them up.
Literally, I was like opening the first one and I don't know if I even noticed it like on the front of the package necessarily, but when I opened it fully and I'm like opening this candy and it's like, thy word have I hid in mine heart that I might not sin against thee. I was like, is that a psalm? That's a psalm. And then I was like, oh yeah, it says right there. And then it's got like the little fish on it. And I was like, this is the sort of candy I would expect in America, but not
I was just browsing like what I could buy that was a British sweet that I've had that I could buy for somebody in America that was imported from the UK. I'm not even sure that one was imported, to be honest. I think that was just... I think Americans have taken our sweets and then fucked them up.
I think that's the same style. Like,
oh,
I've
that
seen
wasn't
those
America
sweets
that
before.
took your sweets. That was the church that stole
You're right.
your
I'm
sweets.
sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. Although to be fair, it's been so long since I've seen those in England or in Britain at least. I've not seen one of those since I was pretty young. But
It's because the church doesn't
them.
share. They took it for themselves.
I really fucking loved them. Big time. Big time. So when I saw them on a shop available for you, I was like, oh shit, yes. Oh, I'm a bit jealous.
You can order yourself some Bible sweets too.
Yeah, I got to get me some Bible sweets. How have I not put that accent in my D&D characters?
I don't know, but every time you tell the Texars joke, oh my god, I had to mute myself to get a little cackle. Oh, it was so good.
You remember when I was there with you and we were in that drinks store and I did my Texan accent and I didn't realize I was British?
Yeah, they sure as fuck did not. And then you started speaking normally and they were like, oh
that's
God,
an accent I should bring into D&D.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome. Hi, Leonore. Welcome back from our break. Let's get crack-a-lacking. I've realised that I've been so caught up DMing that I've been slacking a bit on chat. So I'm sorry, everybody.
I've been so caught up DMing that I haven't paid enough attention to y'all.
We're here and we love you. We're just juggling a lot of balls right now. Where the
You'll
fuck
get better
were
at
we?
juggling balls with practice. We almost didn't make it through.
It's just practice. That's not funny.
Nothing funny about practicing the ball juggling.
Practice juggling balls.
Yeah. Absolutely nothing
Completely
comical
innocuous.
about
You
that.
will need more Jesus sweets in your life.
I grew up in Texas. I had plenty of Jesus sweets in my life. Didn't suit me.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay. All right. So Nerdy has found the binder's aphorisms, or they've been delivered unto her. And there's some kind of weird hollowed out section of the book, but there's nothing in there. In the meantime, Randall has had to just get out of Dodge and find their way to the classroom, which is on this floor. You are about to give your presentation, and we will not be making you do the same whole thing again, unless there's something in particular that you wanted to add. We will be moving Nerly over here.
It would just be adding the tried and tested new metaphor of the like subtracted story and the dusty bookshelf.
Yeah, it's very good.
That seems
it's
to
very
land
good.
well with Nerly.
I liked that a lot.
I liked it a lot as well. Before we do so, Oro and Haiku, what are you going to do during this tour? Are you? Is there anything you wanted to get the ball rolling on whilst we move over there?
Get the ball juggling on.
I guess so the book that fell down that he pulled out, isn't that not the book? Do I remember? Okay.
Oh, I mean, you guys have been left on your own now. You can pick that book up and have a look at it if you like.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that.
Do I remember the title of the book that Randall brought?
So you actually, we'll get to you. I'll solve your problem in a moment. But basically, you have the book that Randall's given you. You've got the book that Haiku wants, and you look in the covers, and they are just mismatched. So you switch them over.
Okay.
Okay. We'll continue with that after we've dealt with Randall's presentation. Randall stands in front of his peers and superiors. We've got Professor Nugget is in here, Master Kulth, High Priestess Nurali, and we got a couple other people in here whose name I have written down, but my text is too long. We've got Lathid and Gundo and Kinvas Palm in here as well, who are fellow students. And you guys are waiting for Randall to begin. Randall, do you want to give a performance roll, please? With advantage, because you've got your fancy new...
I'm armed with my new metaphor.
Yeah, your new metaphor.
Yeah, it's still not going to be good, though. Oh, no, it is fine.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow.
a crit's a crit. Okay. Well.
Still a 19. That -1
Yeah.
performance. It's charisma based. I have no charisma.
Everyone stands and gives you once again a standing. Did you roll that highly for the last one as well? Did I make you do a performance check? Oh no, I didn't.
Because I did the
I
performance.
didn't, because you actually did the performance. Yeah, I didn't make you do a check.
That would be pretty harsh.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe I did. Actually, maybe I did. I don't know if I
And you
did.
failed the performance check. Oh, okay.
I don't think you just gave him inspiration, didn't you?
Maybe I did. Maybe I did.
I'm pretty sure that I
Okay.
haven't read. Hold on.
All right. Well, regardless, it goes very well. Everyone gives you the standing ovation. As once again, it's this kind of clasping of the wrist and standing in respect. Apart from Professor Nugget, who just kind of stands at the table, rolls on his back.
Oh, Professor Nugget.
Professor Nugget on the table again.
Looking for scraps.
And everyone gives you a resounding praise for your talk, and they start to kind of diffuse and disperse. As you are preparing to approach Randall, Master Kulth comes over to you and says, "Oh, narrowly, well, you must agree that was a very good talk that Randall just gave."
Yes, I'm quite proud of what he put together.
Oh, well done on supervising such a keen student. We must have misjudged him. We thought he was, slacking, but it really appears that he has something to pursue, and I think it's good that he'll have plenty more to research whilst he's here, forever and ever, maybe.
Well, yes, and if not this project, then on to the next, once he's finished with this one.
Oh, precisely. Forever and ever. He'll be here, making sure to research whatever's important to him. And then he turns over to Randall and he looks at you. Well, you both look at Randall together, and Randall's just there and chuffed. And that is talking. Forever and ever. Forever and ever.
Do I remember feeling odd at him saying forever and ever and ever and ever last time?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's that deep sense of deja vu you've got.
Like, it's creepy enough the first time, but now you've done it twice.
Like a history check.
Now, he already said yes. I don't have to roll for it now.
Smart. That's a smart.
I've got to occasionally just give Katie freebies because her rolls are so bad otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, God. Does that draw to mind the image that I did see last time of Master Kulth having the key around his neck? There's the
Very
roll.
curious. Very curious. You can roll a history check if you like. Yeah.
Huh.
Oh.
Did I remember something? Honestly, these being memory checks this works perfectly for how my brain acts.
Okay. So you have a moment of deja vu, having had this conversation and him saying forever and ever, and you have this just weird moment of just remembering Master Kulth having a necklace on or something, like a tied piece of rope around his neck, and you can see that it is there is for sure a tied piece of rope around his neck, and it wasn't there earlier. Maybe he's just got some new jewelry.
Maybe just some new jewelry. Yeah.
Oh, I see you're carrying around my copy of the Binder's Aphorisms.
Yes, just spending some time with it,
Oh, yes. Well, as we all should from time to time, I believe, but it really would be better to have another copy, I think.
Oh, I did tell Albert to begin transcribing one.
Oh, fantastic. Very studious young man, that Albert. Very good.
He'll do anything I tell him to do. Very studious.
Truly, he's an absolute pushover. Yes, he'll do anything. Okay, fantastic. Right. Well, okay. I guess I'll see you later. And remember, don't go to the top floor. Bye now.
The third floor. Mm-hmm.
And he walks away, and he kind of gives Randall a wave as he does so.
I give Randall a thumbs up.
Good times. Thumbs ups all round.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it your characters want to do right now?
I think Randall probably wants to get back to the magic section, but might swing by to see if the awkward turtle is near Oro still or not.
Awkward turtle. Awkward turtle, yes.
Okay, what about Nerly?
Yeah, I don't have anything else officially on the docket for today anyway, I don't think, right? So I found this book with a weird empty space. Master Cool's got something weird going on too, and I don't know what it's about, but there's something else going on that's also weird, and so I'm just gonna stick with that for now.
All right. Well, I mean, the both of you leave the room at the same time, and Randall's very quick to get out the door, but still polite enough to keep the door open for someone else that's coming behind you, maybe, or just darting out there.
Not dying out.
Okay. All right.
So just like,
You got forever and ever and ever and ever and ever to read these.
yeah,
books.
like I don't have a deadline anymore. Like
It's true. Yeah. Forever and ever and ever.
Not even got a meeting arranged for what's next or anything. So.
Yeah, precisely. Well, you step into the hallway, and can you roll me both perception checks, please?
Yes. I am proficient.
Okay. Good thing to point out. I appreciate that.
I am not.
Doesn't matter.
You
Stolen
don't
all
need
of
to be precision.
Katie's rolls.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You step out of the door into the hallway, and as you do so, you see Harold, a young student here, who has a nefarious grin on his face that is closer to the to the front of the to the front of the hall down on the right hand side, in front of these large doors, and he appears to be rearranging some books.
I bet he does appear to be rearranging some books. Oh, he sees that. Do I see that too?
You both see it, yeah. Or rather, Nerly, you see that he's got a nefarious look upon his face, and that he's taking a book out. Randall notices that he is rearranging books.
I think the supervisor in me. Sorry, go ahead.
It looks to the critical eye of Randall that the rearranging looks purposeful. It doesn't look like he's doing it willy-nilly.
Why would you rearrange the books? Why is he rearranging the why is Harold rearranging
Harold!
the books?
I yell at him. Come here.
He runs.
I'm going to kill him.
Oh, God.
What was he meddling with? Did you see what book? You said he's rearranging. Well, I know he's rearranging.
Yeah,
books.
It was weird. It definitely looked purposeful. Can I want to walk up to where the books they rearranged were.
Sure.
Just
yeah.
Look at like where they should be, where they've been moved.
Okay. Can you give me a perception check, but with a low DC?
Probably. How low are we talking?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You notice that the books that have been misplaced purposefully have been, it looks like they've been sorted in an odd order. It looks like the first words of every title have been put in a way that it spells something out. And it spells out across multiple rows, Ogma stinks. And it's in a really nice kind of like it's like nice and central. It's formatted nicely, and it's directly in front of the front doors that anybody would take if they took you through into the library.
So Randall's there, like worked that out, and like is then slowly like reading it. It's like Ogma stinks.
You say Ogma stinks directly next to High Priestess Neroli.
Yeah, that's why it's like at the right at the end. It's just like stinks.
What?
It says I don't agree with it, but it says Ogma stinks.
I'm going to kill him. Sacrifice him to Ogma directly. I suppose we should fix it.
Yes, I should probably put them back.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll spend some time taking all the covers off and rearranging them.
Okay. So when you are done with that, where do you want to go next? And this is thinking about what's going to happen after we've been back to Oro and Haiku. Or does it depend on what they do?
I would just go find Oro and Haiku.
Okay. And Randall's going back to the books.
Yep.
But past Oro and Haiku. Okay, that's perfect then. We'll have you guys arriving at Oro and Haiku then. So sure enough, unfortunately for Randall, the awkward turtle does appear to still be with Oro.
I want to position myself very carefully then so that the High Priestess is between me and Haiku. So I'm just like,
can I roll for perception to try and see if I can see Randall again?
So I think Randall's gonna. Wait, are you trying to hide behind, or are you trying to just position yourself so that Neroli is between you?
Yeah, like I'm not trying to like actively hide, but it's just like kind of like a barrier.
Sure. Okay. All right.
Like,
okay.
It's difficult for you to like directly talk to me.
Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. In which case, you can roll an insight check to see if Randall's doing that purposefully, or if it's just awkward placement in the social circle. Yeah, you could 100% see that he's purposefully trying.
I love it.
Well, with that knowledge, it's you again. What's your issue? I mean, you even hiding. I've done nothing.
What do you say?
Sorry, I can't. Sorry.
Don't you dodge me.
But I want to get back to my books over there. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Did you find those books, or did you have a chance to look at the books?
Yeah. So it turns out Ora's still like trying to make her tattoo very clear again. It turns out it needed to be switched with this book. Yeah, I got the correct books is in there now. This the one you wanted?
Oh yeah, excellent. I'll take it. I'll take it back down.
Can we have
roll a perception check?
Come on, it's right there.
With advantage because it's right in your face.
Please.
Said that as I rolled a 5.
I'm glad that I said that. There we go. All right.
Thank God.
Necessary roll.
I've not seen that tattoo before. Well, I mean, I have, because I have that tattoo. I don't understand why you would copy me.
You have that tattoo?
Yeah, I do. It's on my shoulder. But you must have known that, because otherwise, how would you have got it?
No, I got this in an adventuring party I was in. Haiku also has
that's
one.
My story. No, that's my story. I got it in an adventuring party I was in. Or I got it with like some people that I knew or something in a group. Yeah.
So you remember how I said Ogma is being odd today? And I show him mine too.
But
yeah, I definitely didn't copy you, whoever you are.
Yeah, that's the click in Randall's head. It's like, oh.
Just the awkward passive aggressiveness.
Oh, no. But I don't.
And I'm going to hold up the binder's aphorisms and I'm going to flip over to where the hollow in the book is. I'm like, look. and I go to put my hand in the hollow of the book.
Oh
But
yeah, for
obviously-
you it goes in, but for them it just looks like you're palming the page.
It's a book.
So you just like, look at this.
Wait, does that
Look.
Katie knows that
spark?
that's what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that spark anything in haiku?
Oh, good question.
We've
Roll me
been
there
an
before. I mean-
advantageous history check, please.
Well,
Surely
me
it
as
was
well.
ground into everyone's memory.
Hey!
Yes, haiku, that is absolutely rings a bell. And as you do that, it even procs the memory that you, you and Oro have just swapped the covers of the books.
Mm.
And you've been like, oh, this is the book I wanted to read. And you think, wait a second. And you start leafing through, and surely enough, you see a key inside the book.
Well, I'm gonna start fumbling the page. Look, my hand govern. Is the key still there?
Yep.
I'm gonna pull out the key.
Yours has a key in it. Mine's empty.
Oh, my had a key. Look, I can put it back and it disappears. Take it out.
Can I just quietly flick through my book? Because everyone else has got
Surely
cool keys
enough.
in their books.
Surely enough, the book that you have has a key in it.
Oh,
Oh.
I've got a key.
Wonder
Now,
where my key's gone.
If
Well,
we've
that's fine.
all, three of us have got books. Yours has a hole in it, but no key. We've all got the same tattoo. Oro, do you have a book with a hole in it? I mean, surely you'd know which books have holes in them. You, from what I can tell, you know every book in this.
I can't see the holes in your books.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I should never have got it.
Well, I can't see the hole in his book or his book, but I can see it in mine. But I don't have a key to pull out, unlike them, so I couldn't really explain that to you. But it seems like there may be a book for you somewhere. There's a theme here.
I pick up that book. Wait, shit, what is it called? Are You Okay, Little One?
Mhm.
And flick through it in like a panic, like, oh, don't know if I do.
Nope.
No. Do I remember this book? Now that I'm like,
Roll me a history check with advantage. History check's getting a lot of work today.
History.
Yeah.
A lot of work today.
I feel like we don't like history checks. One of those things that doesn't really come up too often. So I kind of like that we're just really like we're filling in for all the missed history checks for every campaign that's ever been made.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, you remember reading this. Actually, you have quite a deep sense of connection with this. Actually, you're starting to remember something that maybe your character didn't remember yesterday. That this is almost certainly some kind of communication from your adoptive mother. And it seems to be suggesting that maybe you're trapped somewhere that you shouldn't be. It makes you start to wonder whether or not you are who you think you are, and you are where you think you are.
okay, I want to relay that all to everyone. Be like, I don't think this is where we're supposed to be. I don't think this is the reality we've been living in.
This book is what I've been looking for. I certainly feels like I should be here.
I think some of our stuff may be what we wanted before we were here, but that we're trapped here right now. And that's why we're all getting this deja vu thing. And there's books with holes in them that none of us can see except for one person, and there's keys in some of the books, but not all the books.
Can I have some investigation checks from Randall and Nerly, please?
Investigation.
Oh, okay.
God.
I'll take that. I'll take it.
It's not bad. Not bad.
Okay. So the leafing through the books that you have identified, you find some information that, I mean, Randall actually hadn't read the book yet because you've not already had an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And Nerly was looking for a very specific part of the book's contents, less more about what was in the book as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
you both find some passages that you find particularly impactful for different reasons. Neurally, you find at a kind of halfway through the literature, the description of something that you find to be very, like I said, it resonates with you, and it seems to be something that connects with you very deeply. It is the description of a race of beings called the Aasimar. And it is described to you in a way that you just find like these creatures, these people must be astonishing and amazing. And it sounds like these individuals are almost plucked for purpose by the gods that they are, they are somehow trickled down from. And something just deeply connects with you reading those passages. As it's just this concept of an Aasimar as a race of beings who could quite easily blend with any other race and go unnoticed is interesting to you to begin with. But as you read more, you read a very short and kind of confusing part of this Bible text that describes the sacrifice of Aasimar as a way to procure some kind of holy power or holy favor. And it sits very uncomfortably with you in your stomach, and a deep pit forms there, but you can't place why.
Okay.
Randall, leafing through your text, you find references to this kind of momentomancy, this magic that is designed to alter memories. And almost immediately it starts to talk about altering memories as a high-level sorcerer or a wizard, sorry. And so this ability to modify memories that people already have and bring in information that didn't exist before and that kind of thing. But very rarely does it refer to the idea of straight up deleting memories, although that is mentioned sporadically. There is a final chapter that you read that seems kind of unimportant, like in the narrative of the story. It doesn't seem like the text that you're reading, it doesn't seem like it's the focus. But to you, it draws a lot of attention. It is the description of a powerful being who is able to, who is responsible for secrets, and who can make something or someone become a secret. And in so doing, they strip the world bare of things that would otherwise not be secrets, and leave. And what you find to be baffling to you is that they use the precise terminology that you did in your talk about there being a bookshelf, but dust and a lack of dust where the book was, that kind of thing.
Oh.
Thanks for feeding me that.
Copied this.
Yeah, plagiarism.
Yeah, but everyone's going to think I plagiarized it from the book.
Work smarter, not harder.
So those are things that you have an opportunity whilst you're, looking through your books for these keys. You catch some of these passages and you think, actually, I need to read this. I need to read this with my eyeballs. I need to read this right now. And you kind of absorb that information for a moment.
There's definitely something to this.
Do I have any sense of how many keys we needed?
Yes, actually, you recalled at the beginning of this session that there were 4 locks on that door that you saw.
Right. Okay. So I think we need 4 keys. I think all of us need a key to get out of this.
I got a
I've
key.
got one.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I think me and High Priestess need a key too. And I mean, your key was supposed to be in your book.
Well, I don't suppose Albert took it because I'm sure he would be delighted to show me that in hopes of currying some kind of favor. So it was on the shelf. Wait, I didn't know that. Never mind. So Master Quilth has it. Perhaps he has mine. But where would yours be?
I don't know. I wonder if it's something to do with those kids moving the books around, and whether my book's
Might.
been lost in the fuckery of moving everything around.
Oh.
And this
stinks.
isn't your book, the one that you were reading.
Randy just says, "Oh, Ogma stinks."
It took me a second to be like, what did
I kind of like give him a side eye.
what?
Oh, no, Harold was rearranging books to say Ogma stinks.
Yes.
Or maybe one of those. I mean, O for Oro. No, good look at.
Maybe.
Or where does Harold go? What else does Harold do? Maybe we just need to follow Harold.
Yeah.
We need to mug him.
Oh, yeah, maybe Harold just has it.
Maybe. If Master Coulth has mine, perhaps Harold has yours. Is there not a space in the book that you were reading?
Not that I can see. I like flick through it in front of everyone. Just like, can you guys see it? The whole of the book?
Well, nobody else can see the ones that are visible
Yeah,
to
you
us.
never know.
Well,
Yeah,
do any of us see it? See it?
No.
Gap? Oh, okay.
Is the cover correct? Because all of our ones have had the wrong cover.
It appears to be correct.
So maybe that's not your book.
Well, I think this is definitely a book that should be mine, but maybe it's just not the book. Maybe I have 2 books.
My book had what I was looking for or wanting. Are you wanting anything or looking for anything?
I don't think so. Other than Harold dead, but I don't think there's a book on that.
Well, perhaps we should just shake Harold down and see if he's got a key.
Would
Maybe.
you like me to do it since I'm not faculty and couldn't possibly get in trouble for it?
I can't get in trouble. Who's going to?
Ogma?
Who's going to reprimand you?
Ogma.
Yeah, who's going to reprimand me? Well,
He
we'll see if
stinks
Ogma's
anyway.
unhappy with it. There are methods other than physical violence that we can start with. So, where does Harold spend most of his time in between general fuckery?
Fuckera.
How you say it when you're texting.
Oh, that fuckera.
Fuckery.
Do we know what Harold does?
None of you are directly responsible for Harold in any way.
He's your
What
child.
time
Oh,
is
no.
really have it.
What time is it, by the way, at this point?
So you are getting into the late afternoon.
Okay, I'm just thinking because Albert's going to come over when the dinner bell rings.
What? You can't
Yeah,
go. We've got things to do. You can't go on a dinner date.
Well, it wasn't a dinner. I already made plans.
There's keys in books, Haiku. We've all got the same tattoo. We can't live here forever.
Master Coulth does keep saying forever and ever and ever and ever in a rather unsettling way. So perhaps we cancel dinner tonight and go find Harold and then Master Coulth. I'm gonna start heading the direction that Harold went.
Okay, so he actually came in this direction.
Oh, wonderful.
He ran directly away from you. Was you guys kind of? Are we all on the same page? I think we're all on the same page. Yes. So was you guys went through the main, like walked down into the main concourse and then came over to here. Harold continued up the corridor that you were in, and then darted into the kind of central library. So you could probably find him, but in the maze of books in the center.
If we're gonna find Harold, we need to work together as a team. Because he's a scampy little motherfucker.
Can we like?
We need to have all
if we
angles
can
on
block-
him.
Yeah, if we can block the exits or something. And, like,
I'm good at blocking things.
True.
There are quite a lot of. I don't think there are enough of us to block all the exits. Are we? Okay, so DM question: Are we in like this central area?
That is where you saw Harold go. You are currently down where Oro and Haiku are.
Okay, let me actually move myself over to
I'll
where
move
they
you over.
are.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
And he's somewhere in like this inner circle, or is he somewhere in like the outer circle, like way
Let me draw
out
it for
here?
you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm like, there's so
He
many circles of
is
books.
somewhere in here. You do that okay?
Okay, there are technically only 3 exits.
well, and up and down.
No, those are actually only up.
That's to the top floor. Up. Okay.
Oh, look, there's
can
only
you
3 exits. There's 4 of us.
The math checks out.
Math.
On a Sunday. Okay then. Well, how about? I mean, you have the most authority, High Priestess. I have the most annoyance with him.
Rage.
Yeah, rage.
This guy here seems to be good at peeking around doors and watching people.
We could try to block exits. We might as well just kind of peek through all the walkways and see if we can see him, and then maybe try to corner him. Because if we just block all of the exits, the stairs, and the 3 entrances, then we'll just be standing there. Okay.
So what is your final plan?
We're gonna like fan out and search for him.
Yeah.
So you want to fan out and search for him in that central area or the whole library?
I think
Circle.
like, yeah, we're right here, so
Okay,
we're gonna
and
have
so
to
you
walk.
are or you aren't covering the exits?
Covering exits, yeah. But other than Nerdy, who go and look.
Okay, so Nerdy's going to look, but the rest of you are going to cover the exits.
Okay, that works.
Okay, all right.
Wait, we need a signal. Wait, hold on. We need a signal of attack. If he comes near one of you and tries to run through your exit, we need a sign of "come here to me."
How about come here to me, Harold's here?
What the fuck?
Is that not a good signal? I thought that was
This guy.
concise and
This guy.
Clearly never been in
Descriptive.
another adventuring group. You gotta have a unique word when you're in an adventuring group. It's got to be unique because anyone could say that.
But if anyone, surely someone saying that Harold would be there and you want to go.
Say sprouts.
Sprouts.
I rather like sprouts.
Sprouts, exactly.
I really like
That's a perfect word.
But my one, maybe.
I think, Randall, your idea is very straightforward and clear. However, if Harold is somewhere in your vicinity and you shout, "Come here, Harold's here," he's going to run. But if he just hears someone say sprouts, he might stop and look and maybe not run. So,
yeah.
Okay. You happy with that?
Yeah, I guess it's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. So you fan out into the 3 different hallways, the bridges that go across here into the central library. You stand, 3 of you at each of the bridges, blocking those exits. We have Nerly combing through the center, looking for Harold. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you roll me an investigation check, please, Nerly?
I'm going to guidance myself.
Sure.
I can shuffle my D6 over to Neurali.
Oh yeah, Kitty has
Ooh.
one.
Oh, I
Kitty,
didn't know
have
I
your
got
own
one.
D6?
I missed
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I used my
Oh.
D6 then. I missed that, I guess.
I shuffle my D6 over to Neurali.
Ah, damn it! What? What? Okay, hold on. Let me.
Can I have it back? Can I have a
I didn't know you were going to do that.
What are the odds? Oh my god. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Fucking hell.
Okay, it's a 9. Should I spend a sorcery point to reroll? That's the question. Oh. No. Okay, I'm gonna reroll.
Sure.
Please don't be worse.
That's amazing.
Oh no. Oh,
I'm
no.
using my inspiration. So many resources. This is a metaphor for my life.
What
The
needs to
one, the
happen?
one, the one.
The outcome of all of this is going to be Harold's not on this floor.
No, I'm.
I don't think it's going to be useful in this situation now, to be honest.
I'm using my inspiration.
Okay, I think what we need is a supercut of all of the shit rolls that Katie's had today, so that she can just have that as a link. Whenever she plays D&D in any game ever, she can just post that link and be like, "This is what you need to be prepared for. This is why I play bards."
One for the highlight reel, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, you're going to use your inspiration
Yes,
to re-roll or to get a specific outcome.
a specific outcome.
I say a specific outcome. A DM
A DM favor.
liaison. What do we figure out?
So I feel like I spend. I know that time is of the essence. I have this feeling, right? Like,
Sure.
we don't have time for this.
Mhm.
I start to look. I feel like there's just not even like anyone here. Like, there's just nothing going on, and I don't even hear anything. And I'm like, all right, that's it. Agma, you set me on this path today.
Uh-huh.
You told me, or like, I'm feeling like things are odd today. I feel like memories are missing. I need some help here. Like, I don't know what you're up to, but I'm just gonna trust you
Uh-huh.
to point me in the right direction.
Okay.
Please.
Right. Okay. In which case, please have an investigation roll with advantage, and I will allow you the modifiers that you had from your previous 3 additional rolls.
Yay.
Because that adds up to a 4.
18.
Okay, 18 in total. Really needed a lot of help there.
Take away this stupid inspiration that I had. Thank goodness I had that.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. All right. Okay. Surely enough, as you are praying in the central corridor here, you hear the sound of a book hitting the floor. And you hear a small, quiet voice go, "Oh, fuck God, no."
I go, like, if I can do like a sly, like, look through the bookshelf thing to see where it's at, I would like to do that.
Sure. Okay.
To see a person, but if
So-
not, I'll move.
You if you look at these corridors here, it's fairly central, and what you can see underneath you there is the lower section. So it's on the floor below. So there's a very little space for him to be hiding that you aren't immediately seeing. What he's been doing, you deduce, is he's heard you come in and he's been doing ring around the rosies with this column in the center with you. He's been keeping out of your periphery the entire time. What's happened is, in doing this, he's bumped into a chair and knocked something over, and you've heard it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because he's small and young, he's got quite a bit of speed on him. So you think that if you're going to catch him, you're going to have to do something interesting here.
Okay.
So you know that right now he is on the opposite side of this big pillar that houses the staircases to the higher floor.
One moment, just reading something.
Looking at my
Shockwave.
spells. Power word kill.
Word for real though, right? I cast slow in the area that he is and choose only him to be impacted.
Right, 40-foot cube. So that's definitely gonna catch him if you are able to angle it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. So you cast slow. What do you want to? How does this look?
Do I have an Ogma holy symbol of some kind? Actually, I've got the book. I'm just going to like flip open the book, and I'm going to blow across the pages, and like copies of some of the letters from the aphorisms will kind of like fly off and flutter over there and like settle over that space.
Sure. I like that a lot. That's very cool. That's very cool. Okay. So you've cast slow in an area and you hear, oh no.
Perfect. Harold, I will give you the opportunity to come over here, and it will be worse if you don't.
Oh no.
But I will find you.
That's all you hear. You hear what sounds like maybe a chair moving.
Okay, I'm heading towards the noise.
Okay, as you get around the corner, sure enough, you see a foot retreat underneath a desk. You can see there are these tables with chairs in front of them. It looks like he's hiding underneath the table.
Do the like walk over, put my hand on the desk, reach under, grab for clothing, and like.
Yeah, you grab him, and sure enough, you grab him by the bats, and he's like.
Turn out
you
your
can see that
pockets,
he has a book in his hand.
Thank you. Set it down while still holding him by like the scruff. Flip
Sure.
through. Look to see. Well, I guess I wouldn't see a key if there were one in there. So I'm just gonna hold on to that book. It's going under the arm. Turn out your pockets, Harold.
Why?
Because I said so.
Okay. He turns out his pockets and just a bunch of fluff comes out of it.
Why have you been doing this to the books?
It's funny.
You're causing a lot of trouble.
I'm sorry.
Have you found any keys while you've been messing around?
What?
Any keys? Do you know what a key is?
I don't know where any keys are.
Insight check.
Sure. Looks like he's telling the truth.
I'm just gonna bring him over to Oro, who's at like the north exit, seemingly. Drag him along, yeah.
Being pulled off. Oh no.
I found him.
What's wrong with him?
He's feeling a little lethargic. So, he hasn't found anything amiss. He doesn't really have a good reason for why he's switching the books around. Generally just being a nuisance. But was there anything interesting about the book that had caught your eye? Any switched cover or anything that we might be able to get some information out of him to see if he has switched the cover or something like that.
I don't know any specifically. But maybe we could give Harold some punishment. Some things he has to do. Like fix all the books he fucked up.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is Harold? Is he actually like small and I'm literally holding him up, or is he like?
He's a
What
cute
does he
person.
look like?
So he's a small human child. He's
Okay,
got
he's a
kind
child.
of yeah, he's a
Yes.
child. Yeah, he's kind of got a very rough, short, blonde hair that is very poorly cut. So in some patches it's much longer than in others. It looks like what happened is that some of the monks, when they are initiated, will, especially as a punishment, some of the monks will have their hair cut, especially the children. And it looks like what's happened is they've gone for the haircut and he's rustled his way out of it. So only half of it's got done. But he's wearing this kind of small, green robe.
I like to think of it like dragging him by his ear. Not really his ear though, that would be cruel, but just dragging him along then. Because she's not probably strong enough to just like one arm hold up an
He's a
actual
pretty small
child.
kid. Yeah.
Okay, well maybe then, who knows? We could ask him to fix the books, but I suspect he wouldn't remember every single one that he'd ever switched or would really have the motivation to do that. But I bet I could convince you to do something a bit mischievous. Would you find that interesting?
Maybe.
I want you to go find Master Kulf and watch him for a bit. He's got something on a cord around his neck, and I think it would be quite funny if you were to bring that to me.
Okay.
Promise?
I promise.
Ooh, a pinky swear. It's the most solemn oath. Also, there'll be some extra sweets in it for you after dinner.
Oh.
And I release the slow.
Don't fuck with my bugs.
Release
You
the
see-
slow midway when he's running and stumbles as he.
Yeah. Misjudges his newfound speed and runs straight into the wall.
Harold doesn't know it, but he has a name, so he will die a painful death in Tom's.
Oh my god, you know what? This is okay. Oh no. Okay, so in another game I was playing in, we were following somebody who had something we needed, and they were a very dangerous character. And there was this mischievous little troll thing that popped up and could just like come in and out of the ground, and it stole things a lot. And I was like, hey, you, I saw you and no one should be able to see you. Why don't you go get this thing that we need? And it did die. Apparently it was a child. I thought it was some very magical being.
No.
That would be fine, but it was not some very magical being. That would be fine. So apparently, if he dies, I have a history of sending small
Oh.
children off to do.
So similar. This is so
yeah.
uncannily similar.
God, I didn't really think about that until you said that. So goodness. Well,
no.
hopefully he is successful and doesn't die or whatever. He's gone now, though.
Yeah, he's
Do
out of here.
it.
Too late now. So he leaves behind the book that he was carrying as you caught him.
Oh yeah, because I took it and tucked it under my arm.
Mhm.
All right, look into this one, see if you find anything. And I hand it to Oro.
All right. The book is titled The Ouroboros.
Ooh.
And as you leaf through some of its pages, are you rushing to read it or are you rushing for a key?
I'm initially looking for a key.
Okay, so sure enough, you leaf through it and there's a hollow side, a half of this book that has a key in it.
I'll get the key out. There's a key in here.
Unexpected. What is this book about? What does this mean to you?
I put the key back in the book and I start reading it.
Maybe
So-
keep that on your person.
I'm
This
in my-
describes to you a concept of the Ouroboros. In this context, it is a kind of an in-depth discussion of the many faces of this concept. It seems that the Ouroboros refers to a kind of a cycle of this. It's imaged as a snake eating its own tail. And it is something that has been linked to, according to this text that you're reading, the cycle of life and death, the cycle of the ultimate ending of the universe and life as we know it, how everything will go back to how it began, where it came from, blah blah, and really the ongoing infinity of everything. Even discusses in short the concept of impermanence and how nothing can really ever exist, because if you continue to go back and into smaller little segments of it, nothing really is anything, and how for every given second, any concept that you have ends and becomes a new concept a second later. And it goes on and on, but you start to feel some twinges of sentiment in it that kind of tug at your heartstrings a little bit. The Ouroboros, in some contexts, describes self-sufficiency and the ability for any given individual and concept or entity to thrive on its own, based on its own existence, and only become more empowered by those around it. There's no weighing down of this entity. It is a very kind of figurative. It goes on a bit, honestly. By the end of it, but halfway through the first chapter, you're like, well, the first paragraph or so, you're already a bit like, okay, this is a bit artsy fartsy. But there are more literal and more figurative parts of it. One of it is literally just a giant snake eating its own tail. But it resonates a little bit with you. That idea of self-sufficiency, that idea of being determined to thrive under any circumstance because all you have is yourself and all you need is yourself, because you are one thing and everything at the same time. And it sits with you in a very complicated way, but you feel almost as if you've got some kind of bizarre certainty in who you are as a person. And that word Ouroboros is what sits very strongly with you. But we'll leave it at that.
So I still have my leather jacket, right?
Yep.
Does it still have my like pins and is it still got stuff on? Mm-hmm. So at on the back of my leather jacket is an Ouroboros symbol.
Sure.
So I get my leather jacket off the. I assume I would just have it on my shoulder now if we walked away from it, and show like the back of the leather jacket with the book. I'm like, this is my book. This is it.
Okay. We should probably call the others over.
Sprouts!
It goes barreling through.
We're ready to punch a kid.
You can tell they've done this before.
We found him, and it.
What, the key?
Yeah, I got my book now. It's got the same symbol as on my leather jacket, and it's got a key in it. I got a key.
Okay, so we just need one more then.
Yeah.
And you think... Well, you found the book though, so we just need to find the key, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. I suspect Master Cool has mine. Since this is his copy, it's the only one we have. He had it before Harold brought it to me, and Harold would definitely have handed it over to try to curry favor. So I sent Harold off to steal it from him.
Oh.
I promised him extra sweets.
As you finish regaling this tale, you hear
sound like Harold's footsteps.
As Harold is sprinting down the hallway to you.
Uh-oh.
He has a piece of string around in his hand. Most of you see this as just a piece of string. Nerdy sees a piece of string with a key upon it. Harold says, I got the string, I got the string, I got the string, I got the string. And he runs up to you and he slams into you because you hear further footsteps coming from behind him.
I'm gonna
But it
scoop
doesn't
him up
just
like
sound like
oh.
one person. And it sounds regimented. It sounds like many, many footsteps. And actually, all of you can hear from multiple directions that same regimented footsteps. It sounds like a lot of people are coming right now.
I'm scooping Harold up like a kid, setting him on my hip and grabbing the key.
Uh-huh.
Do we know where we're supposed to go with these? I don't, maybe.
Or it might.
Oro does.
Or it might.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm holding the
what
key.
do we do now? We got
Third
the
floor,
keys.
top floor.
Run.
You bound across this top floor. You throw open the doors to the central staircase and you sprint up the stairs. As you do so, you see. Hi everyone, good time to raid. How's it going?
Thanks so much.
Good time to raid. An intense moment of the story. The child on your hip, Harold, his eyes kind of roll back, and you just see the whites underneath his eyelids, and he says, "You should not be going to the top floor."
Drop. Continue going.
he slams onto the floor, and he gets up, and his neck's kind of twisted a little bit, and he looks up at you. Stop! You should not be going to the top floor. And he starts to follow you. You see his legs kind of twisted from when you dropped him on a staircase, and he's limping up. He's coming up towards you.
Not stopping for literally anything.
Stopping. All right. Okay.
The sympathy I had for him being a child ended when he had his.
Harold is now only making me run faster.
Yeah, exactly.
You get to the top of the stairs, and you see the giant golden door with a massive tree upon it. A tree that Nerly previously and now again recognizes to represent the tree of knowledge. You see that there are 4 locks on it, and you hear the footsteps coming from behind you.
Are there any symbols near any of the locks that make sense for any of us?
Nope.
Just start
Trying this one.
Yeah, trying keys.
All right. Can you give me what's a good luck check?
Straight D20.
Straight D20s. Let's give me. Well, you'll have you have charisma. Charisma can be your luck.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, why?
Everyone's
Charisma's not luck.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, Katie's rolled high. That does not bode well
All
for
I
the rest
have
of
is
you.
charisma.
That does
all I
not
have.
bode well for the rest of you. Okay.
Okay. We didn't do too badly.
Did my luck come back at the new day? Do I have more luck?
Nope.
I have one more luck. I'm gonna use it.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Right, we'll take the 14. That's fine. We got one from Haiku.
Yeah, 13.
Oh yeah. Okay. The top one is
It's
24.
just
Doesn't have Nerdy's name. Okay. All right. Okay. Bam, bam, bam. You're switching between each other. You're throwing keys into locks. And this doesn't work. You use this one instead. You're going to go between all 4 of you. And sure enough, click. One goes, okay, no, not this one. It's over there. You're swapping between each other, trying to find the final keys. And then last but not least, we have Randall. Key and lock opens. You hear those footsteps getting closer and closer as they start to get to the top. You see Master Kulth. You see Albert Humpledink. You see Nugget even with their eyes rolled back as they just start to climb up the staircase.
I'm gonna prep the flamethrower.
Okay.
Okay, how do we open it?
And you hear regiment like this droning tone of "You should not be on the top floor. You should not be on the top floor." You push open the doors, and as you see inside the room, you see this very dimly lit scene of what looks like the inside of this room is a dome, but you see no ceiling. You just see stars as if they were painted on some kind of ceiling, and they start to flicker gently in the lights in front of you. There is no other light source apart from a book on a pedestal. And as you walk towards it, it opens itself. The pages start to ruffle and unravel. And as that occurs, Randall's book at his hip lights up. There is a beam of purple energy that sucks the lights out of the stars that are painted on the sky. All of the words that are on the pages of the book in the center are drawn away from it. They are completely abolished. And you can see the pages on Randall's book begin to fill page after page as words are being stolen from this tree of knowledge in the center. And the lights go out as the book closes itself. The doors close behind you and you see nothingness. You wake underneath the tree of knowledge. Wisps of clouds that you saw previously settle themselves. You look up, and those of you with dark vision see corpses surrounding you, skeletons that are around you. And you are in a cave. Roots of the tree all around you. But you are together. You recognize each other. You know who you are. And you remember everything precisely.
Wait, I don't have dark vision, so I'm gonna like call out.
You're dark, yeah.
I'll cast light on.
Also, hi Tortu and
Hi,
Raiders.
Tortu.
You've
Yeah,
come
Tortu.
at the final moments.
Yeah, thank you, Tortu. Hope you had a good stream.
I'll cast light onto the tip of my wand. Hold it up like a torch.
Oh, hi.
This is disgusting. Wait, no, I'm not that gnarly anymore. It's really gross in here.
Yay! Curly's back.
We gotta get out of this fucking cave.
Are these bodies?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
They look like them.
Go.
I do
Leave.
at this point glance around to see if there's anything cool looking that these people that have died had that they have left behind. Because like obviously we're like awesome, powerful people with magic items and stuff. So like maybe other people like that got sucked into this because we're still in the Feywild, right?
Yeah.
So like me trying to remember what the heck is actually going on now, like different timelines and realities.
Yes, give me an investigation check.
Oh, come on. I feel like that's perception, right? Because I'm looking
because
around for
you're poking
shinies.
around. You're poking around for shinies. Or do you want to just do a bit, because perception gives you less.
Perception gives me less, but gives me a direction to send
That's,
somebody
hey,
who's
I'm
better
okay.
at investigation.
I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that.
Can I help with that? I'm gonna hijack that because it feels like quite
Sure.
a haiku thing to do.
Yeah.
So if you help, you give advantage to someone else. If you want to hijack it, you can say, I'll do it instead. You can help me.
No, I want to help. I just use the word hijack.
All right, okay. Sure. All right. In which case, get advantage. Yeah.
Me still holding up my fake torch on my arm for some reason. Perception.
Whoa! You have a D6 as well, Katie. You have an extra D6 just for
another one. That's right.
Because we're at the end of the stream. Maybe you want to use that.
Yeah, I'm gonna use that.
Throw it on there. Just throw it on top of that. Oh my god! Now she gets the good rolls.
Now 32.
Okay.
Please.
So,
and I am proficient in this.
It appears to you that the people who have mostly been drawn to this tree and to the cellar, the roots of this tree of knowledge, have been scholars, spellcasters, wizards, and in amongst the ruins, you find a few things that have not rotted away into time, and you find 4 spell scrolls that are sealed away. What we're going to do is we're going to roll for the contents of those spell scrolls. I'll do that later on.
Okay.
And I can give you the results of those. They're going to be juicy. But what I would like to say is that upon completing this slight mystical adventure, you find yourselves in a somewhat more confident position. There are things about yourselves that you have discovered. Nuggets of information that have revealed things to you that have given you more confidence in your abilities, maybe changed your perception. Every single one of you gets 1 ability point that they can spend on anything. Just 1 single ability point. Randall,
Ooh.
your grimoire
Yeah.
is now a focus +2.
Hot diggity.
As it has absorbed the pages of the Tree of Knowledge. And before we end today's session, I will say that you step outside and look up at the tree,
A wilted
and you
dead
see that
tree.
all of the pages are blank. All
Uh-oh.
of the pages are still.
Oh dear.
Whoopsies.
It's like Randall's just absorbed the entire internet.
He
Oh my
downloaded the
god.
internet.
It's the meta text. It's like this was a yeah.
I'm now carrying the meta text.
Okay. Right. Well, GG's everyone. Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. It's just Tomo saying, I feel like Juicy Scrolls has the same energy as Tube Soup is absolutely correct.
Sue.
That
I
was
didn't send a child to die this time.
Yeah.
Because he
You
wasn't a
almost
real
did.
child in the first place.
Wow, there were definite moments where you could have brought that back to round 3.
Yes, I was
Yeah.
worried for a moment. I looked at the time and I was like, oh no. Oh, we need to hurry up.
That's why I was like, we still have 2 to find. I'm gonna send the little sneak thief child off to
Yeah.
go do bad things.
So the idea behind each of these, like finding the keys things, was supposed to be that you couldn't find any of the single keys on your own. You had to get help from another party member.
Yeah.
And the idea was that if you worked together and cooperated, then you could solve everything. But if you did it on your own solo, then you couldn't. So for you to, I was like, okay, well, I could say that Harold is shit and doesn't find anything, and I could say that Master Cool then determines that you guys need to have a reset. I could have done a lot of different things, but I figured you wouldn't have cornered Harold. Like Oro couldn't have caught Harold on her own. And you did it because you were helping Oro. I figured that met the criteria.
Yeah.
And I think that was pretty nice. I previously planned, so I had this thing where like your key was in that book, but the book was going to be owned by someone else, and that the book was going to move around. You're going to have to find it at different locations, and sometimes it would have the key and sometimes it wouldn't, all that kind of shit. It was fun to plan out this one. I liked this one a lot.
I liked that a lot.
Yeah,
It was a lot
really
of fun.
Good.
Right. Okay. GG's everybody. Your characters are more powerful than they were before. We'll go over the loot. Make sure that I write that down. 4 scrolls, baby. Juicy in brackets.
Juicy
Just double
Scrolls.
check the ability point is just we can increase like charisma or etc. by 1.
Yes, you can increase one of your ability scores by 1. Not 1 modifier, 1 point.
Okay, well it does increase my modifier what I've just done.
Okay. All right. It's just it's so often what happens is you'll come to like a level up where it's like you get +2 points, and you're like, oh, it's so annoying. Like if I put 2 points, add 1 point into this, blah blah blah, and I'm not getting a good. So it's nice to just occasionally give you the 1 ability point you can increase to.
Does this one allow us to go past 20?
No.
Not anything. Okay. I had to
No, it's
try.
I can on ints if I want to.
You can, yes.
'cause
No
I've
one
got
else can.
the book.
Favoritism. Jeez.
I need a book that gives me headaches.
All right, good job. Well done.
Big
Yeah, that's fine.
GG's.
GG's.
Yes, yes.
Vibes.
Go
I didn't have to do any D&D prep today, but next week I'll have to do some D&D prep.
And some
Sad.
juicy scrolls. I've got a
Got
lot
to
of work to do.
unravel the mess I caused. Still.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. That's something to consider. Yes, you now remember everything, Haiku. It's been long enough.
Oh.
Wait, what mess
Or
did you
not
cause?
remember.
Or are you just talking about the general adventure that we're on? Oh, and you poking around by yourself. That's what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what else are we figuring out right now? Okay, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you next week. Maybe. Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
First.
so.
Could
Yeah.
be.
I think so.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for chilling, everyone. Appreciate it. We'll see you next Sunday or next time I stream, which will be tomorrow. Look after yourselves. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.